Hello, ma'am.
So let's start the program formally.
Yes, we can start. Am I audible, Kavita?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
you
You
are
are
audible.
audible.
Okay.
So should I ask Consul sir to join?
Yes, we can wait for 2 minutes.
Okay, sir. We will wait for 2 minutes. दूसरे रूम में जाओ मुझे हाथ से आने Welcome, Garg sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So we are just waiting for 2 minutes.
Yeah, not a
As
problem.
for Consul sir.
Kavita, sir
Yes,
is just going to join the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, sir. This is our first day for the program. So now we are starting our program formally. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes.
you are audible and visible, Kavita, clearly.
Okay,
Are
sir.
you
Thank you.
able to-
Respected dignitaries, participants, my fellow coordinator, Professor Sukhdeep Singh, dear colleagues and participants, Jai Hind. With greetings of the day, we are glad to inform you that Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Deenbandhu Choturam University of Science and Technology, Murthal is organizing a blended hybrid 2-week faculty development program on advances in smart cities and IoT from 6th to 17th March under Pradhan Mantri Gati Shakti scheme sponsored by AICTE Training and Learning Academy. 6th to 11th March, the program is in online mode, and from 13th to 17th March, it is in offline mode. I welcome Professor Sukhdeep Singh, coordinator of the FDP and chairperson of Department Computer Science and Engineering, to introduce all dignitaries to the participants and my fellow colleagues. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Kavita. Good evening to all of you. Myself, Professor Sukhdeep Singh, coordinator of the program and chairperson of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. I welcome you all to this inaugural session of this 2-week blended mode faculty development program under Atal scheme of AICT. In today's inaugural session, we are blessed with the presence of Member Secretary AICTE, Professor Rajiv Kumar, who will be with us as a chief guest. We are also having with us Professor Ramesh Kumar Garg, who is Director Atal Academy in our university, and under whose guidance this program was planned and being executed. Thank you, sir, for your presence.
Thank you.
We have with us Professor Jit Kumar Gupta, who will be delivering the keynote address for today's session. Now over to Kavita for the next activity.
Thank you very much, sir. As most of us are aware that urbanization is a multidimensional complex phenomena, and urban planning is an interdisciplinary field where knowledge from different disciplines is used as input for the formulation of development plans, implementation and functioning of the city. The Government of India launched Smart Cities Mission on 25th June 2015. The main objective of the mission was to promote cities that provide core infrastructure, clean and sustainable environment, and give a decent quality of life to their citizens. Through the application of smart solutions, the mission aims to derive economic growth and improve quality of life through comprehensive work on social, economic, and physical pillars of the city by integrating the technology in all these spheres. Integration of Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and machine learning has changed the way data used to be collected, processed, decisions used to be made. The entire process adopted till date has many success stories and lessons learned from involving various stakeholders. The adopted process offered and still various offering opportunities and challenges. However, there exist many issues related to data capture, creation, storage, retrieval, sharing, analysis, optimization, and interpretation. Further, writing, communication, and publication of various creations. The aim of the program is to create awareness of opportunities and challenges in planning, implementation, functioning, and monitoring of smart cities and data capture, creation, storage, retrieval, sharing, analysis, optimization, and visualization to integrate analysis across heterogeneous and independent complex resources for better decision making at various stages. I now welcome Professor Sukhdeep Singh to provide a brief on the Department of Computer Science and Engineering and about the university. Over to you,
Thank you,
sir.
Kavita. I hope we are audible to all the participants. The Department of Computer Science and Engineering was started in the Eastwhile CR State College of Engineering in the year 1989 with the intake of 30 students in Bachelor of Engineering course. Presently, the department is a full-fledged department under the Faculty of Information and Computer Science, and we are admitting the students in BTech Computer Science and Engineering, Bachelor of Computer Applications, Master of Technology in Computer Science and Engineering, and the PhD programs. The department is one of the best department in the university. Along with this, we are also providing the administrative guidance to the affiliated colleges for Master of Computer Application programs. Now, as we know that technology is pervasive and growing exponentially with every passing moment. So to keep up with it and help the society and the learners get a well-rounded understanding of the computer engineering, the Department of CSC strives to provide the cutting-edge learning opportunities that prepare our students for the career in a variety of industries and for starting their own businesses. So this present course is the feather in that direction. That here we will be trying to apply the knowledge learned in the form of theoretical computer science for its application in the real life situations like the smart cities. Our students are performing very well in the different areas of the society. The department has started 3 specialized programs since the year 2018 with the specialization in blockchain, data science, and cyber security. The department's core strengths are its experienced and highly skilled faculty, state-of-the-art resources available in the department, very good placement record, and ever-expanding alumni network of our department. During this 2-week blended mode program, we will try our level best to make all the participants comfortable during their online course as well as the physical mode or the offline course. Now over to Kavita for the next section.
Very much, sir. Now, during the program, we are having eminent speakers from different reputed institutes like Professor Satish from IIT Roorkee, Professor Ajay Pratap from IIT BHU, Professor Harsimran from IIT BHU, Professor Priyanka from NIT Kurukshetra, Professor Jaswant Singh, ex-Chief Town Planner, Haryana, Professor Anil Roj, Professor Ajay Dureja, Professor Vikas Khullar. And we are having 50 participants from different cities like Delhi, Gurgaon, Haryana, Sonipat, and many more. Now, we have Professor R.K. Garg, Director, Atal Academy and Idea Lab, AICT, Dekrust Murthal, who has remained as inspiration to various schemes implemented at Dekrust Murthal. I invite Professor R.K. Garg, sir, for providing information over our institute and Atal Academy and Idea Lab at our institute. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Kavita. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes. Professor Rajiv Kumar, Member Secretary AICT, Professor Jit Kumar Gupta, Professor Sukhdeep Singh, who is the coordinator of this program, as well as Chairman Department of Computer Science and Engineering, who is the organizing department for this program. Dr. Kavita, co-coordinator of this program, and a senior faculty in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. And dear participants, it's a matter of great pleasure for me that I got this opportunity in this program to just give a brief introduction about the university as well as the Atal Academy. As far as university is concerned, as Dr. Sukhdeep just mentioned, erstwhile CR State College of Engineering, Murthal. Earlier, this was started in the year 1987. That was the first, when in the premises of present campus of 273 acre, the government of Haryana decided to start the first batch in the Department of Mechanical Engineering as well as Department of Electronics Engineering, with a total intake of 60, 30 in each batch. We continued to be an engineering college, the first and the most reputed engineering college of the state of Haryana. Then in 2006, the then government of Haryana decided to upgrade this into a University of Science and Technology mode. And we can say that it is a young university to the students of the state of Haryana as well as others, particularly in the field of engineering and technology, sciences, many more. We some courses on engineering, then education. Sukhdeep is also the Dean of Faculty of Education. A number of, and of course, a very good faculty strength at our university. And with the help of this, you can say, well-qualified and experienced faculty, we are serving approximately 5,000 students at different levels, undergraduate, postgraduate, and doctorate level. Now, as far as Atal Academy is concerned, I must, let us say, to inform my participants that Professor Rajiv Kumar, who is presently the member secretary of AICT, he is a professor of mathematics. He is the senior most professor at my university. And of course, now he is with the AICT. We are always blessed with Professor Rajiv Kumar. And it was his initiative that AICT decided to establish Atal Academy and Idea Lab with some center of excellences at my university in 2021. This was a unique kind of, you can say, initiative of the AICT. And this MOU was signed by the then chairman of the AICT in 2021, Professor Sahasra Buddhe, my vice chancellor of the university, Professor Rajendra Kumar Anayat. Of course, in the presence of Honorable Chief Minister of Haryana, Vice Chairman Professor Punia, Member Secretary Professor Rajiv Kumar, and many more. This MOU was signed in the month of June 21. We have three parts in this Atal Academy. The one is Atal Academy. The second part is Idea Lab. And the third part is Center of Excellences. Under this MOU, we have earmarked 2 acres of land for establishment of this Atal Academy and the buildings that will be constructed by the AICT. The purpose, very purpose of this Atal Academy is to conduct such type of faculty development programs. We have already conducted 2 more programs, of course, 2 weeks duration and in hybrid mode. The one program was on leadership excellence and another program was on developing consciousness. This is the third program in series. This time in 2023, AICT has sanctioned only a limited number of programs throughout India under this initiative of the AICT that is known as ATAL. And we are fortunate enough, to the best of my knowledge, my university is the only university or institute in India who has been given the responsibility of conduct of 3 programs. Otherwise, hardly any university or institute has been given the responsibility of conduct of 1 or at the most 2 programs. We are, of course, very kind to AICT, just exposing their faith or their belief in us. The another purpose of this ATAL Academy is that now the NEP has will be implemented. Of course, every state is in a phase to implement the NEP, and the target in Haryana is that this NEP will be implemented, you can say, fully by 2025. The mandate of NEP, if I talk a very limited regarding faculty, is that now the faculty has to be trained on different modules. It is not like this that once you have been appointed and then you can continue. But the new initiative is that every instant of time, the faculty members, they will be upgraded in terms of different kind of knowledge. When I used to say different kind of knowledge, for example, in the very beginning, AICT has come up with 9 different modules. And once you have been appointed, within a period of 1 year, you have to complete those 9 modules. These modules are on examination reforms. They are on, let us say, curriculum development. They are on internships. They have to clarify, or they have to pass the examinations on these modules. At the same time, maybe yearly basis or maybe once in 2 years, the faculty members, they have to upgrade their knowledge in their respective fields as well as in emerging areas, where IoT is well within the list of 9 emerging areas that had been declared by the AICT. So this is the very purpose of ATAL Academy, to conduct or to train the teachers who will be appointed throughout India. This is a unique kind of ATAL Academy which is being established at my university. The another part is Idea Lab. We have already established an Idea Lab. The concept is similar to, we can say, ATAL Tinkering Lab or Fab Lab, which is not only restricted to the students or faculty members of an engineering institute or of an university, but it will be open to any citizen of India, working on 24/7. And we have been released a grant of roughly 4.5 crores, where every year we are supposed to conduct more than 20-25 such programs. Of course, restricted to the concept of Idea Lab, but we have to conduct 20 such FTPs. That is another initiative of Idea Lab by the AICT. Under this, we have already established the Idea Lab, where we have spent about 1 crore of rupees for the procurement of various machines and equipments. We have already conducted so many programs, and now we are in a phase to conduct more such programs. The third is Center of Excellences. We have a mandate from the AICT that we have to establish different Center of Excellences. Of course, you can say the mandate of the AICT is that we have to establish the Center of Excellences on those areas which are otherwise directly has some societal impact, so that we can improve the status of our particularly rural areas, or otherwise in general, which can be a contributing factor in the growth of the state, growth of the nation, or you can say for to compete in the world of globalization. That is the purpose of this. So this is the whole, you can say, a brief introduction about the ATAL Academy. We have as I am serving as director of this Atal Academy, and we have faculty members from different departments who acts as a gurus or coordinators for conduct of these kind of activities. I think this is all about this Atal Academy, and I again thanks to the organizers of this faculty development program, Dr. Sukhdeep and Dr. Kavita, and I wish them all the success for the you can say offline as well as online mode of this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing the information on Atal Academy and Idea Lab at Decrest, Murthal. Now, as already briefed by Professor Sukhdeep Singh, sir, we have among us our own Professor Rajiv Kumar, Member Secretary, All India Technical Council of Education. Atal Academy and Idea Lab at our university has never been possible without the support and initiatives taken by Professor Rajiv Kumar, sir. Professor Rajiv Kumar sir did his MA in computer technology and applications from Delhi
Madam,
College of.
I will give my introduction. Please leave it. I will give you. Yes. Okay.
Sir, please, sir,
Okay. Thank you.
allow me to read two lines
Just
after
brief
that.
introduction.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much for brief introduction. Professor R.K. Garg, Director of Atal Academy, and my friend, Professor Jit Kumar Gupta ji, resource person, eminent person, Sukhdeep Singh, Professor Sukhdeep Singh, faculty members, and dear participants. First of all, I congratulate Decrest Murthal for organizing this faculty development program on behalf of AICTE. As Dr. Garg was pointing out, that this year we gave very limited faculty development programs and we are concentrating more on quality. And some programs we gave under PM Gati Shakti project to train manpower, faculty, and the students so that they can in turn train our students to give a boost to this Gati Shakti project in the country, that is advances in smart cities and IoT. And this is the purpose where faculties from different departments like civil, architecture, computer science, they can come to a single platform and they can understand how they can apply the knowledge of computer science to civil engineering, architecture, on any branch of the engineering. So I congratulate coordinators, organizers of this blended FTP of 2 weeks for choosing this important topic. Now, as Dr. Garg was pointing out that we have selected certain thrust areas, IoT is one of them, and it is our endeavor that each faculty member, irrespective of the discipline, they must be familiar, they must be able to teach all these thrust areas, 9 thrust areas. Not only teach, they should know how to apply these new technologies in their domain. Then and only then we can say that we are adopting new technologies and we are preparing engineers for the requirement of the country. So this is a great initiative taken by the Murthal. Definitely success of this program depends on the seriousness of the participants and the organizers. I request organizers be strict as far as giving certification and counting the attendance of the participants, because we have specifically taken this format. We are conducting lectures in the evening time, and for 1 week they can continue to attend these lectures in blended mode from the remote sites from their home to Murthal to take hands-on part care of the participants, and they will be given exposure of how we can use these thrust areas, these technologies in these advances in this course on smart cities. I once again wish for the great success of this course. As I am traveling, I know that I am going to pass in an area where there are very low signal. You may not be able to hear my voice. So before that I reach that area, I will like to conclude my address. And once again, I thank Subdeep, Kavita, and other faculty members for giving me this opportunity to share my views, what we are doing at AICT. And sometime I will get more time and we will interact more, and we will tell you what we are doing at AICT. And thank you very much. Namaskar. Jai Bharat.
I guess sir has reached the area where there are signal problems.
Network strength is
So
low.
thank you so much, sir. We are blessed to have you our chief guest. Now, we all are starting our program with an eminent speaker and well-known personality in the field of town planning, Shri Jit Kumar Gupta, sir. Jit Kumar Gupta sir is a versatile personality who have worked with various government organizations and private institutes as a leader and handled various challenging assignments and gave new valuable directions to the functionality of the organizations. Professor Jit Kumar Gupta, with more than 53 years professional experience in architectural education, urban planning, policy planning, urban legislation, capacity building in sustainability, green buildings, affordable housing, smart cities, urban laws, urban missions, rural planning, public participations, and urban local bodies, and many more. He is senior fellow member of Indian Green Building Council, fellow member of Indian Institute of Architects, fellow member of Institute of Town Planners of India, and has been founding director of College of Architecture, IIT Bhaddal. He is advisor to Town Planning, Punjab Urban Development Authority, and former chief town planner at SPCL. He has also been former chairman BOS Architecture, Punjab Technical University, member of court for Supwa Rohtak, member of academic council at Shri Mata Vaishno Devi University, current chairman BOE and AE at Indian Institute of Architects, former chairman Chandigarh chapter, Indian Green Building Council, consultant for 6 master plans at Punjab, Srinagar, Chandigarh, 4 cities of Gujarat. He has published 13 books, over 300 technical papers related to architectural education, affordable housing, land, heritage, Chandigarh, Amritsar, sustainable cities, urban planning, sustainable development goal 11. Awarded Madhav Achal Gold Medal for lifetime contribution to architectural education by Indian Institute of Architects. Medal for standing first in the university in Masters in City and Regional Planning and Gandhian Studies. Currently, he is a member of State Transport Committee Chandigarh UT and advisor to review master plans of Jammu 2023. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Now
Thank
over
you. Thank you, Kavita and Sukhdeep ji, for making me this partner in this great program. It was my first experience to be on the platform of Department of Computer Science and Engineering. Generally, we all speak on the platform of the architecture or town planning. But I think this is a very good initiative. I must congratulate the DCRUST for taking this initiative and the courage, to delve into an area which remains a domain of primarily and essentially architects and planners. I'm grateful also to Professor Rajiv Kumar and Dr. Garg for inducting me and considering me for, this presentation which I'll be making. But I hope, since my background remains as an architect and a planner, I hope it should be able to communicate the essence of urban planning and the relevance of technology. Thank you very much. And I think
So
it's an honor.
the participation is from architecture as well.
Okay. So
Yes.
I think it's about
Planners
honor
and architects are there.
yes, Manoj, in the, He just talked to me. That's how I got through, Huh? So this is my screen is visible.
Yes, sir, it is
Yes, sir.
visible.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Right. So I'll be talking about sustainable smart city concepts and approaches. In fact, when we talk of entire human settlements, there are two settlements, either they are urban and rural. I don't call them settlement, they are culture, So there is urban culture, there's a rural culture, So therefore, we'll be talking about a culture which is primarily and essentially new in the parlance of the planning, because earlier it was all villages. Now urban areas are becoming more important and more powerful. Before we get into that context, let's see the overall, it's all question of population and human beings, which are multiplying and which is growing, and that's what we need places for them to stay on. If we look at the global context, so we look at the global context, this is 195 countries of the world. And the circles are primarily and essentially the size of the population and the continents into which they are divided. So there are 5 continents into which the entire population has been divided. And red, you can see this is Asia, which is the most powerful and the most dominating continent, with India and China holding 35% of the total global population. We have already crossed 800 crores, 8 billion population recently. But let me tell you, we were first 100 crore, that's 1 billion, was in the year 1804. And last 200, 18 years, we have from 1 billion, we have gone to 8 billion. So this is how the population remained distributed, and this is how they are contributing to economy. And that's a different and distinct, because United States and China, they jointly contribute to 40% out of the total wealth being generated in the world, And next comes only Japan, which has a 5 trillion economy. India was in the year 2019 around 2.88. We are trying to become 5 trillion economy. We are going to, overcome Japan after some year, and will be, from third, we will go fourth, we will go to the third, rank so far as the wealth generation is concerned. All this 800 crore people have been divided into 7 layers of human settlements, and starting from one house to, unending this settlements like hamlet, village, small town, large town, cities, and conglomeration. Below 3 layers up to village, they are the rural areas. Upper 4 are, the urban areas. So we'll be talking about the 4 upper layers, and see, the pyramid shows as we are going up, the population is increasing, the number of human beings living therein is increasing, but the number of such town is decreasing because of the larger population dwelling in the rural areas. We look at the, how the 20 largest city in the world are populated. And look at this, the largest populated city in the world remains Tokyo, which have a population of 37.3 million. 3.74 करोड़ लोग एक शहर में रहते हैं. Or that you can think of, that is the population. What is that population? The entire population of state of Haryana, plus you add another, around 30% more people. So combined together, that is the population of the Tokyo city. So all these 20 cities are basically cities which have population more than 1 crore, 10 million. And you can think of the 20th city, that is, Tianjin in China. It has only a population of 13.5 million, 1/3 of the, the first ranked city in the world. And you see, there are 4 cities in China, 3 are in India, and 2 are in Japan, out of the total, 20 cities which have population, highest population in the world. And there is no European city which figures into that list itself. And what these cities have been doing, They have been destroying nature. They have been all doing, negativity. Of course, they have their own positivity, but also their negativity. And you can see that when in the search of land for agriculture, for housing, for development of industries, every hour 6,000 acre of forest are being destroyed. In the last 50 years, we have removed 2/3 of the animal species out of the total world. And when you look at the context of the cities are, this figure 2%, you should read it now 3%, it will change, that the city occupy only 3% of the land of the world, but they are generating a wealth equivalent to 70%. That is the positivity of the cities, and that's the growth potential. As against this, cities are consuming 60% of energy. They are generating 70% of greenhouse gas emission, and they are also responsible for the 70% of the waste which is generated by these cities. But and that was the figure of 2011, and it is said by between 2010 to 2050, we will add around 250 to 300 crore people to the urban areas. And at that time, the city will be contributing, of course, from 70% to 80% of the wealth. Of course, the energy consumption level will be there at 70%, but the global carbon emission will remain 70%. And you see how this world is living. 1/4 of the total population lives in slums. 90% of the COVID impacted population was in the urban area. There are 4.2 million people were dying in the year 2016 because of the air pollution. And public transport was available to only half of the population, that too traveling, around 500 to 1,000 meters. And, the open spaces availability was only to the 47% within a distance of 400 meters, And this is what is being projected, that there will be more than 100 crore people living in slums. There will be problem of municipal solid waste management. Of course, urban air will remain polluted, and we will be all suffering on account of that. If you cumulatively look at what these cities are, I think we have gone through certain figures and we have gone through certain images. I think what it communicates. UNO has, crystallized the total ambit of these cities. And I read for you so that you understand. Cities remain very complex, very different and difficult because they are human driven, and basically cities are having both positivity and negativity. Don't think cities are all positive. I showed you certain things, productivity as well as, problems. So I read for you so that you should be able to understand what, the cities are, what the cities are doing, what the relevance of this city is. So they say, city contains both order and chaos. In them reside beauty and ugliness, virtue and vice. They can bring out best or worst in the humankind. They are physical manifestation of history and culture. They are incubators of innovation, industry and technology, entrepreneurship and creativity. Cities are materialization of humanity's noblest idea, ambition and aspiration. But when not planned or governed properly, they can be repository of society's ill. Cities drive national economy by creating wealth, enhancing social development, and providing employment. But they can also be breeding ground for poverty, exclusion, and environmental degradation. So this sums up the total ambit of the city. So we all know, city have been part of the human history. They have commanded power and authority, and we have seen they have both positivity and negativity. They are embedded with dualities and contradiction. They are known to be areas of concentration in terms of population activities, infrastructure services. They are engines of economic growth because they are generating most majority of wealth, but they are creating employment, wealth, and prosperity. But they have negativity for the reason they are consumer of large resources, energy, generator of waste, and they are responsible for global warming, climate change, and the major disaster we are facing, and they are all basically the output, the way the cities are being planned, development, managed. Cities, I think we have to, I said there are two culture, one is a culture of rural area, there is a, human culture made by cities. So city remain a man-made and mechanical habitats, they try to destroy natural things. They are, they are adverse to biodiversity. They are known to create best and worst living condition. They have large migrants coming to this. There are slums, Their cities are always in crisis, both natural and man-made. They are suffering from population poverty and pollution. Cities are never static, never finite, They are always evolving, dwelling, and they are changing. And the cities, looking at the context, how the cities are to be there, cities shall remain dominant. There are more people will be migrating to cities. City will driving the national economy. But I think if cities have to be made more productive, more livable, more biodiverse, more productive, effective and efficient and humane, and healthy places to live, I think they need rationalization. Looking at that, we looked at the total context of the city. Let's look at the Indians, how we have done. Indians have done no different, Last 92 years, I'm marking the area from 19, 2000, 1990, 1911 to 2011, when the last census was taken place. So in this period of approximately 100 years, India's population has gone 5 times, from 25 crore to 121 crore. I'm talking of the figures of 2011 because 2021 figures are not available there. And you have seen already read India is now the second largest populated country in the world, with population placed at 1.4 billion. And they say within 2 months, India is going to take over China to become the most populated country in the world by having a population of 1.43 billion. That's it was 143 crore ho jayenge, as against we were there 121 crore in the year 2001. So ultimately during last 100 years, we have multiplied by 5 times, from 25 crore to 121 crore. Urbanization level has gone from 10% to 31. That means there were earlier 10 people out of 100 were living in the rural area, urban area. Now there are 31 people. Urban settlements have grown 4 times, from 1975 to 37935. And during this very period, the rural population have increased by 3.5 times, whereas urban population have multiplied by 15 times. That is 2.5, 2.5% to, we were there around 2.5 crore se 37 crore ho gaye hain. And by 20, this is said by 2050, we are going to be the 160 crore. They are just, estimate, out of which 800 crore, 80 crore will be living in urban area. That means by 2050, India will be adding another urban India to the urban areas. So look at this, 1/5 of the total growth and development of these cities is marked by the migration from rural area to urban area. And see how the major cities are dominating. There are 3 cities, I said, Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta. They are more than, 1 crore se upar population, and there are 5 more, there are 6 more, that's Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, they are there. And there are 53 cities which are having population of more than 1 million. That's a metropolitan city. There are 53. They have 42% of the total urban population. And there is a report by McKinsey Global Institute. They did a study in the year 2010 projecting what urban India is going to be 2030, and they were offering the opportunity which India should leverage in order to make cities more productive so as to become a developed nation. And it clearly said by 2030, there will be 59 crore people living in the urban area. 70% of wealth will be coming from the cities. 80% of taxation will come from the cities. Per capita income will go 4 times. GDP will multiply by 5 times. There will be 27 crore people in the working age group, and 70% of the total job will be generated in cities. So cities will become rich. There will be people migrating from the lower to the middle class, and there will be more metropolitan city. But nevertheless, this is challenge is that India will need lot of investment in infrastructure, in housing, etc. And every year, 700 to 900 million square meter of residential commercial space will be needed to be added in the urban area to take care of the population. That means a new Chicago will have to be created in India. In addition, there will be 1.2 trillion capital dollar will be needed for infrastructure. 2.5 billion square meter of roads will be paved, and 7,400 kilometer of metro. That means 20 times what has been done in the last decade. That has to be provided in order to make the, in order to realize the mobility and make it possible. When you look at the urban area, let's look at the context. So urban areas are important. They will be important, because they have concentration of population. They are provider of employment. They attract a lot of investment, They provide best of the infrastructure and services, both in health and education. They are the one around which the entire economy is made to state and gravitate. And they are, always producing something more than to make a rich. As you can see, there is a positive relationship between the level of urbanization and the wealth of the country. That means higher the number of people living in the urban areas, higher will be the prosperity. And you can see, since the rural economy is based on agriculture, and agriculture has limitation, of you can have 1 crop, 2 crop, maybe 3, or Japanese have been able to get 4 crops. But in the case of the urban economy, which is on soft skill, and also because of the industrialization, you can have any multiplier effect. And you can see, 10 largest cities, which house only 8% of population, they produce 15% of the wealth. And 53 metro cities, which house only 1/7 of the 1/8 of the total population of the country, they produce 1/3 of the wealth of the country. And 100 largest cities, they have 1/6 of the population, but around 43% of the wealth is being generated by the country. But, these are all positivities. Cities are all housing all these infrastructure services. They are cornering all kind of investment, They are generating jobs. They are providing quality healthcare, education. They are all located in these areas. But if you look at the entire context of the city, they remain poorly planned, developed, managed, and governed. Cities are not able to, meet effectively the challenge of urbanization. So there is haphazard, unplanned development. There's a growth of slums. There's poor quality of life. Then there is problem of air pollution. And majority of cities do not meet the air quality standard set up by the World Health Organization. And it is said that around 6 million people died in the year 2019 to 20, in the air pollution. So cities remain unsafe, water stress, and they are not able to provide shelter services and sanitation to all its residents. Cities, in addition, cities don't have adequate open spaces. I said they are not safe. The temperature in the core area goes on rising. Cities always are suffering the problem of traffic and transportation. Cities do not accept their people, and all the poor people are thrown out, and ultimately cities are, for day-to-day needs, they remain dependent on the rural area, and there is a large gap between the rich and poor, And let me tell you, poverty is not an urban problem. It's a human problem. It's neither a problem of urban area and the rural area. Why it becomes a problem of urban area? For the reason poor people migrate from rural area to urban area, get concentrated in urban areas. So therefore, I think that is what they say, that it's an urban. No, it's an urban, it's a human problem. But we have seen cities are known to be consumer of energy. They are basically eating away all those trees and impacting the environment. And if you look critically and objectively, what Indian urbanization is, it is urbanization of population, poverty, and pollution. And you can see, it's a problem of water supply, sewerage, affordable housing, transportation, open spaces, solid waste, private transportation, and storm water. After having looked at the problem, I think what could be the option to make cities sustainable? Let me also explain to you that it is not that we are now thinking that cities should be made sustainable. No, it is not. This has been every period of the time the people were thinking that how cities can be made a better place to live. So over a period of time, different concepts have been evolved. So there were concept of planned city, inclusive city, intelligent city, resilient city, sustainable city, green city, and now we are chasing smart cities today, which we are deliberating. And then if these were the concept, then we had a solution. We had a garden city like Letchworth and Welwyn, and Chandigarh was one, linear city, industrial city, vertical city, compact city, and radiant city. But nevertheless, I think city planning and architecture needs remains relevant along with the process and the technology which you use for making city more productive and rational. You must have seen this image many a time. This is all UNO SDG, which we are trying to chase for the period 2030 and 2050. And this contains the total, solution for the world to stay sustainable. They set 17 goals, and 17 goals define the total agenda that the nation must work on these. That is, they should remove poverty, hunger. They should promote good health, provide quality education. They should treat all human beings on equality, then clean water and sanitation, affordable clean energy, and then decent workplace and economic growth, industry and innovation, and, reducing inequality. And this is 11th, which remains very, very important for us because it talks about the cities, it talks about the communities. And this says we have to make our cities and communities inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Let me take a minute to you. What is inclusive means? It will take care of all its people, whether rich or poor, men or women, children, handicapped, or disadvantaged. That means all the people will be taken care of. It means it has to be made safe against disasters, and both natural and man-made disasters, and resilient. So, you can't stop the disaster because it is all, destruction is inbuilt in the process of construction because death is inbuilt in the life, So cities, so this planet is always a outcome, since it's an outcome of the, total disruption of the planetary system we broke down, and then this earth was created. So we will remain prone to disaster. But, the agenda says if disaster strikes, the city should revert back. That means city should not collapse, City should have resilience to come back this. And lastly, city must consume rationally and realistically. That means they are to be driven by need, not by greed, And that's what, it calls for sustainable. So I think it's talks of consumption and production, climate, and life below water and life on land. And of course, peace and society, justice remains another issue. And it is said, if you are able to develop sustainable cities, you will be able to achieve 9 goals, the goals of health, well-being, energy, and also green infrastructure. And also you can have climate resilience, you will have sustainable, you will have green buildings, you will have circular principle where the resources are not waste, you'll be able to manage emission, you will be taking care of the biodiversity, and you will create strong partners. So only by doing these cities, you shall able to help, this world to achieve those 9 goals. Let me also explain to you Doxiadis, concept of Doxiadis. And he gave the concept of acoustic, That's the science of planning of cities. And he says city comprises of 5 elements. That's nature, man, shell, community, and network. And he says, all this needs to be integrated in order to make cities great places to live. And what could be the option? We create healthy cities. We create cities based on circular economy. We make cities inclusive, low carbon, and city resilient, beside making city smart. So ultimately, if you have to make city low carbon, surely you have to redefine the planning of the city. They have to be made more compact. Transportation of buildings, they have all to be embedded and to reduce the greenhouse gases. In order to make it inclusive, we have to skill the people, make poor as integral part of the planning, and we have to create safety, and we make sure that basic things are made accessible, and all the people have affordable housing, and they are the few agendas. Surely we have other kind of things that we have. If we have to stop compact city, we have to make cities compact. We have to check the pollution, and we have to this is how you make the city spongy and make them more rational. They are the few concepts I'm running, and ultimately the future city shall be based on zero waste. We are talking of the zero waste, zero water, and zero energy, and zero carbon cities. And they will all be done in order to make cities smart and sustainable. So ultimately, they are the few kind of these messages which we are thinking. They are all futuristic in this. They are not, they are being tried, that in our make cities resilient. That means the city should be planned for safety and planned for then resilience. That means cities should be able to take care of all these negative impact of the disasters, and they should be able to protect life and liberty and property. They have to be planned with safety as one of the basic agenda, and they will be specially taking care of the poor people who are impacted most in all kind of disaster. And then it should be able to provide all basic infrastructure in the city. Now we come to, I will talk about smart city. I'll talk about the sustainable cities, that how this message has been given. As Kavita has already briefed you, that the smart city mission remains an agenda which was launched in the June 2015. It was focusing on 100 cities with the aim, these cities must be make people friendly and people centric, and they should be able to promote sustainable and inclusive development, ensuring basic amenities available to everybody and assured quality of life. And the message was, all this shall be achieved by the use of technology and the use application of smart solution. That means e-governance, e-delivery of services. It will all these services which are to be rendered, that we'll be discussing about that, how technology can be leveraged in making cities what we are talking about, and these are all what we are trying to make cities more livable and sustainable. But embedding at the base of all these solutions shall be the use of technology, so as to make all operation cost effective, time efficient, and involving minimum of human beings, so that they are not delayed at all, And ultimately, the aim is these cities shall become role model for the other cities. Then those cities could be those states can be looking at those cities, and then develop other cities. So they were supposed to be a trigger as smart cities to make sure the agenda of becoming smart spreads to all the cities. That is, I counted for 7,935 cities which are existing, and there are 3 methods which will be used for doing that. That means it's through involving greenfield. Greenfield means you take a fresh land, plan it, develop it, and show how this technology can be leveraged to have the state-of-art development. Then brownfield development, you take an existing area where you find the problems, and those problems are solved with technology and the kind of planning and development of it. And, either you take a new area, develop it, or you take area which is already developed and which is problematic, and you can say, we solve this problem, or you can take up pan city approach, like you have a water supply, you have a sewerage, you have a sanitation, and that could be taken for the entire city. So 3 approaches are mentioned. And ultimately, what the smart city should be. Smart city should be able to provide you water supply, electricity, sanitation, solid waste management, urban mobility, then affordable housing, and then IT connectivity and digitization, and positioning good governance, and all this to be done by e-governance and citizen participation, and promoting sustainable environment, promoting safety and security of the citizen, and particularly women, children, and elderly, and promoting health and education. These are all embedded in the yojanas or the mission which the Prime Minister has launched, Government of India has launched in order to make available the basic infrastructure. But, look at this, ultimately ensure robust IT connectivity and digitization. That means at the basis of that, at the core of this, all this kind of water supply, sewerage, solid waste management and public transport management, and helping poor, planning, etc., all shall be having technology inbuilt to do that kind of job. When we look at the smart city's definition, that has remained a elusive thing, because it's like an elephant who catches, anybody who catches one of his leg and defines something else. कोई सूंड को पकड़ के बैठा है तो अपने तरीके से कर रहा है. तो there is no universal definition which has been still made available for the smart city. But nevertheless, there are certain elements which are embedded, which are considered valuable. That means there is a use of technology for all kind of operation and to optimize the available resources. So that means it's a smart city is a city that makes optimum use of all interconnected information available for better understanding and controlling its operation to optimize use of limited resources. Secondly, it is also uses a framework of 5CT, that is information communication technology, to create, deploy, promote development practices to address urban challenges and create a technologically enabled sustainable infrastructure. So please note down, where they are talking of resources, they are talking of information, they are talking of technology, and they are talking that all this should be made available and in the manner that we don't waste anything. We do in the minimum time frame, at the minimum cost, and you should be able to reach all the people, irrespective of rich and poor. But nevertheless, I will define you what Forbes has decided, and it has defined there are 9 elements, which goes into making of a city smart city, and it includes, smart governance, smart education, smart energy, smart building, smart mobility, smart infrastructure, smart technology, smart healthcare, smart citizen, and how our planning will be embedded as a part of this exercise to make the city sustainable. So you can see, for all these education, energy, building, mobility, infrastructure, technology, healthcare, and citizen, they are all have a preface that is a smart, and it is very, very difficult to bring smartness with the only involvement of human beings, because they have their own limitation. It can only happen with the involvement of technology. So that means smartness will have one key pillar, that is the technology. So when we look at how we can make people's city smart, I think we have to look beyond cities, because no city exists in isolation. All cities have support and have input from the surrounding villages. And the majority of the problem in the urban areas are because of the neglect of the rural population. So ultimately, what our new agenda shall be, that we will have to have a new order of planning, which will focus on, entire climate change, environment and ecology. And it will not focus on only urban or rural, but it will synergize both the things. So you will look at the planning in the regional context. So the planning tools which are now being available for preparing the master plan or other plans, they will have to be reinvented and redefined and put it into the regional context. So first it will be the regional planning, followed by urban and regional planning. So then we have to, our entire approach shall be, in addition to defining our tools, our city shall remain land efficient. And let me also explain to you, India has only 2.4% of the global land, but it has 1/6 of the total population. 32 लाख स्क्वायर किलोमीटर हमारे पास जमीन है, हमारे पास 140 करोड़ लोग हैं जो 160 हो जाएंगे. Please understand, India is the most stressed country in the world so far as land is concerned. अगर आप चाइना को भी देखेंगे, हमारी 32 लाख स्क्वायर किलोमीटर है, उनकी 96 लाख स्क्वायर किलोमीटर है, 3 गुना ज्यादा है और पॉपुलेशन में बराबर है. अमेरिका की देखें, वो 95 लाख स्क्वायर किलोमीटर है और उनकी पॉपुलेशन कितनी है, 1/4, 33 करोड़. वो हमसे 12 गुना ज्यादा है. So land is required, for all your activities, all your, development of housing, healthcare, institution, industries, all this leisure, whatever building you are there, they're all to be created on the land itself. In addition, land is required for producing food to sustain everybody. So land, I think, needs to be looked at more critically and objectively. And I will request all of you, please don't treat land as a commodity for sale and purchase. Land should be treated as a gift of nature to be preserved, protected, and made value addition. So land should not be, degraded the way it is being done. So in addition to making cities land efficient, we have to make them resource efficient. We have to make them promoter of biodiversity. We have to minimize the, spread of the city. You can enter Delhi, from Chandigarh within 4 hours. But if you have to cross Delhi, there is another 4 hours. So this urban sprawl, I think is doing the greatest injustice and creating the biggest problem of travel and traffic within the city. I think we have to stopping the melting of the city. We have to make city planning focus on energy with reduced carbon footprints, and minimizing the global warming. So this is how regional planning you do, both urban and rural. And you see in the NCR, they are doing it. To what extent they have been able to do, I think it's efficacy and efficiency of this region plan that things can, urban area and the rural area can be brought together on the same platform for planning, development, for infrastructure, and for services. So now after going through the, the city or this regional area, let's come to these cities. I think how cities can be made smart and sustainable. First of all, please understand all cities are different and distinct. No cities are same. So you cannot have one formula applicable to all these cities, because all cities, if you look at the structure, if you look at the basis, look at the growth and development, they have their own peculiarity. So that means if you want a city to be smart and sustainable, first and all, we must define what is the vision for the city. Without knowing what this city is, what this city is going to be, so you will not be able to justice. First of all, I think we have to define vision for the city. Secondly, we have to promote planned development. There are either unplanned development or planned development, and there is no other option, go for a planned development. But when you do the development, I think you involve nature. When you do the development with the nature, you may not have the best solution, you may not, but you will never ever have the worst solution. You have to make cities more compact, inclusive, safe, So you have to use technology in planning and development. We have to bring in green spaces and water, and making landscape and water as the essential feature of this. then we have to preserve, protect, and promote our culture of the city and art and architecture. So we have to create quality open spaces. We have to make people community and people centric, because cities are for the people, not for the planners or the those the government. It is for the people. I think we have to plan our people, plan our cities, keeping the welfare needs and the requirement of the community which is there. So, and also we should be able to create ownership for a city so that people love this city, people contribute, people make sure that they will ensure the city goes in a positive direction and not this. Then we have to looking at, now we are looking at the food productivity. That means city must be self-sufficient in growing food. During the course of disaster, COVID-19, you were finding there was no food coming in, there were no vegetable available. So I think urban agriculture is getting another area. Subsequently, we have to have, buildings which are energy efficient. And then we have to make sure the city does not become prone to flooding. And then informal sector is the main part of this. So once we are looking at the city and the vision, I think vision will have to be defined based on the carrying out a SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats offered by the. Ultimately, what we are doing then, we are building the future of the city on the strengths, eliminating all threats, making optimum use of the potential, and make sure everything negative is eliminated. But vision, defining vision is not an easier job. It has to be done differently and distinctly. It has to be based on thorough study. You have to do, there has to be detailed study analysis involving people and communities. It has to be a consultative process, not process, done in four walls of the town planning office, where the town planner decide everything. You have to involve a stakeholder, create a think tank, and use intelligentsia of the city, who knows city much better and who can communicate. This should be the vision. After vision, then option available will be, let's plan the city with nature. And please understand, there are 4 activities. If you analyze, dissect your life right from cradle to grave. So your 4 duties are, it's basically, what is this? It is your living, working, care of body and spirit, and fourthly is traveling. So that means whatever is being done in a city, when we come on this world, I think we should have best quality of life. If we are here, we must work as depending upon our age. If you are young, you may have to study, and when you go old, you have to be employed. You all educate after employment. This so you should have appropriate place of work. And thirdly, you should remain happy and healthy, both physically and mentally. And fourthly is you need to travel minimum. That means you will need to travel from one place to another, but the travel is most unproductive job, which a human being is about to do, and that you have to be minimized. So I think the order of preference of planning and looking at the city shall be, you will provide highest quality of life, appropriate place of working, and you will have enough infrastructure and services to make you happy, healthy, physically and mentally. And please make use options, which we will discuss about, that your travel is minimized. And all these functions shall be in this order, using what, sun, space, and greenery. They remain the 3 natural elements, So if you do anything with all, if you plan with the city in 3 elements, you'll never go wrong, And this is on the left-hand side. This is the radiant city concept, which is being given by Le Corbusier, which tells you these are the elements: sun, space, and greenery. If they are embedded as part of the city planning, you will never ever go wrong. Neither you will ever do any mistake in your life. So if you are looking at the compact city, I think what we are trying to do is, you have to make sure the city remain very compact in terms of density. That means the city should not be separate. City have to be made close. You are reducing the distance, and you are not planning residential one place, commercial here, that you are not using the pure land use planning. You are having a mixed land use planning, so that you have a mixed, this compact city, So compact city is one which uses less land. It does not, need this use of the motor car or the individual vehicles. Then it doesn't have much of these roads, it has streets for people to walk, and therefore, you remain connected with them. And then it costs you minimum in terms of, the development of infrastructure and services, because city is in a compact stage. So there are living, working, and leisure. If you put them in separate, containers and separate them, it's always, it leads to disaster, because most of the cities have suffered on this account, and this makes travel embedded in your planning. But once you have, mixed land use planning, that means you are working them together, placing them together, and that means you are traveling minimum. The transit-oriented development, you must have seen, that means all the development must come along the major highways in the city, so that, where you get down, it is your destination and it is not your transit point. So that means you will have to get down, just walk down, you have school, you have a housing, you have all shopping center located along this, all health center, hospital, they are there, and the transport is available for you to pick up and to get on to this. So this remains the genesis of compartment city, and it was done in the year 2030 by Le Corbusier, when he planned the city of 4 million 40 lakhs, उस वक्त की बात कर रहा हूँ, जो पेरिस के लिए कहा था, और उसके बीच में उन्होंने कहा था city needs to be made more Paris, if at all need to be survived, they shall have to be, built as a compact city, Then we look at, the city of Masdar, and this is a city, which is being planned. We talk about the sustainable cities. Please look at this city. This city is planned in the most hostile environment, Masdar in Abu Dhabi, and this is a city where the temperature rises 50 degrees. In this case, what they have done is that they have oriented all streets in a, direction, so that the cool air from the sea passes through this. The roads, there are no vehicles which are allowed to enter in the city. There are only streets, and like Jodhpur and in the area of Rajasthan, what they have done, they have made the street narrow. There are vertical, the building height is such that they shade, the building shade the other building, they mutually shading, and they cool it, and the people who have to travel, from one place to another, they are all protected by those shade, which is done by this. So orienting the streets in the wind direction, having narrow streets, and then, you have all these solar plants and photovoltaics on all the roofs, which are generating electricity, and they are cooling also, and they are, there is no car in this city, because you will only have, there is a rapid transit system based on EPODs, they are electric vehicle which are available, and you don't have to walk more than 200 meters for going to your place of residence or place of work. You can come to the city from outside with your own car and using the electric trains, but you are not allowed to take, there is no roads and there is no feasibility of taking car inside, except they have their own firefighting and other kind of things. Only those emergency vehicles are there. And this city is planned to be zero car, zero waste, and zero carbon cities, So this is the Masdar which I was talking to. And these are the, personal rapid transit pods, which have been provided for the people to travel within the city. The other city is at Tianjin, where this city was 50,000 people. Now Tianjin is another kind of city which is planned jointly by China and the Singapore. This is for 3.5 lakh people for a 30 square spread over 30 square kilometers of space. And the pattern use is that they will use that is the land use planning is basing on the complexity, mixed land use and transit oriented development. And transport planning is that it will be having a green transport, and their majority of trips will be by public transport or walking and cycling. And they have enough green and blue spaces to make sure that city climate and the environment become very, very important, and they remain conducive to this. And then they are having water bodies for environment and ecology, and they have converted and waste water pond into a beautiful lake. So they have adopted the agenda that do not use agriculturally land for urbanization, make city very compact, have green buildings, have green transport, and use renewable energy and save water. They are the agenda which have been embedded in this. And this city has been planned on 26 parameters, That is, 4 are quantified and 12 are defined, So this parameters are what? 90% trips will be made as green trips. 60% of the waste will be recycled. Each and every building will be made barrier-free, accessibility. 20% of the energy will be generated from renewable sources. 59% of the water which is supplied will be recycled. There will be low energy building. There will be 120 liter of water available per capita per day. And there will be 12 square meter of space which will be available as a green space for the people. And they have allocated for certain quarters for research, people involved in research and development. So there is a technical manpower available all the time, which is looking and analyzing the city in terms of, making the city livable and sustainable. After we have gone through the planning, after we have gone through, the example of the cities, let's go into the transportation. The next issue becomes the transportation. And we have a transportation, Please understand, transportation remains the, biggest challenge in all these cities. For the simple reason, we are planning for vehicle, not for people. And you can see there is, all type of vehicles we are sharing the road, You have BMW, you have horses, they are, horse-driven vehicles, all animal-driven vehicle or mechanical driven, and there is low road capacity, low improper, poor road geometry, vehicle population is increasing, public transportation is insufficient, and there is more pollution. There is no priority to the traffic planning, which is being managed by police, There is low priority to bicycle and pedestrian, and traffic management is non-existent, So ultimately you find, what is happening. Your urbanization has given two worst gifts to the people, that's travel and traffic. All the time you are traveling in the city. If you are living in city, you are all the time you are traveling, and all the time you are getting stuck up in the, traffic, And look at this, every 3.5 minutes, a man is dying on Indian road, and this is the second largest, roads are the second largest killer in the Indian context. And every 55 seconds, there is accident taking place on the road itself. They are just reported figure. I'm just saying, unreported you can see and you can count, This is how India is, marching and living, So what is the option available? I think we have to redefine the planning, its shape and size. We have to make cities compact. We have to reorder priority. Our option must change from planning for vehicle. So we must plan for people, not for vehicle. We should promote accessibility, not mobility. And we should make available public transport, which is equitable, reliable, affordable, safe, and comfortable. Then you should have divide the road space depending upon how much traffic is there. The road needs to be priced, wherever the heavy traffic is there. Then you have intelligent and smart transportation. Of course, you will have to involve people and communities and make sure the old vehicles are thrown out of the cities, and there is effective and regulatory mechanism. So 8 principle will guiding this, that is walking, cycling, connecting, transit, mix land use and, making city compact, and you densify and you shift people from, individual driven vehicle to the mass transportation. This is how the entire transportation should work, and this is what I was talking about you. When we talk about reordering priority of travel, what you are trying to do is, you are trying to do what, you are, when you are planning for people, that means your first priority will be walking, second is bicycle, third is public transport, fourth taxi, carpool, and individual car will become the last priority. So pyramid gets inverted, Cycling, I think the cycling needs to be looked more critically and objectively, because cycling is the best ever method evolved for mechanical travel, because it has remained most inexpensive, most, flexible, it's environment friendly, you don't suffer because of the accidents, it's a zero pollution, zero energy vehicle, it keeps you happy, healthy, it requires minimum space to, drive on the road and minimum space for parking. And then, India's more than 70% of the money is being spent on importing oils. Once you're doing your, cycling, you will find this money which will be saving on this. That means you will be promoting national economy. You will remain healthy, and of course, you will reduce non-renewable resources. And this remains the best option for traveling about short distance. But when I talk about cycling, that doesn't mean it needs proper planning. It needs to have a dedicated space where cyclists can go without being impacted or interfered by other vehicles in order to remain safety, So public transport, I said, is one area where the entire world is working, because this is the best option. Can you think about, this is the only option which is available. This is most cost effective, energy efficient, environment friendly, and have the capacity to transport large number of people. So cities like Singapore have done this. Delhi, Delhi Metro, that they have already gone to carry in one day 28 lakhs people. You can see Bombay, Bombay would have collapsed had the, local trains not been there. Every minute they are moving around a lakh of people, and this in the peak hours. And you can think of any day, when these local trains are not working, you see the entire Bombay collapses. So, but I'm talking about Delhi, the study done by Central Road Research Institute, it said they at one time they are carrying 28 lakh people. That is projected to be 6 million. मतलब 60 लाख लोग हो जाएंगे एक दिन में, और जब ये पूरा हो जाएगा, so what it has happened, it has reduced travel time by 32 minutes. It has saved 10,000 crore per annum in terms of travel time, in terms of the cars. But around 3,80,000 car has been taken off, by moving this kind of people. So their air pollution is reduced, carbon contents have been reduced, and cities have become safer and more cleaner. You can think of, had the metro not been there, what would have been the state of environment, which is Delhi remains crisis at the time of harvesting. But if the metro would not have been there, all these cars would have been on the road, and what would it think? Similarly, Ahmedabad has done wonder in case of its bus rapid transit system. Istanbul has already done the job, where more than 6 lakh passengers are there. They have a dedicated road width which is allocated for the mass transportation itself. So this is the city of Curitiba, which were the first city to have the bus rapid transit system, and they carry around about 20 lakh people, and this is now being followed in around 300 cities, and these cities are trying to follow that. Janmarg is the the mass transportation bus rapid transit system made applicable by the this Ahmedabad, and this is Delhi Metro, and this is what I was trying to say, that depending upon the number of people, carried on. If you divide the road space, you will find the maximum, number of people are carried by the mass transportation, and minimum are done by the individual car. If you allocate the lanes where only cars can move, you will find they will all jumble up, and the speed of the car will be totally reduced, and people will have no compulsion. This is one way of equitable allocation of road space. Secondly, is the Singapore model, where they have said they have, roads are priced. You are not able to buy a car. Like in India, you walk down anywhere, you buy any number of cars, you can't do in Singapore. It is all, issued by the government. The permit is issued by government. You have to have a right of entitlement. The government asks for that, bid for that. There are taxis, there are car, there are trucks, which are, there are those things which we have, advertised. You have to bid for that, how much you are going to pay for that. And then whosoever bids the highest, they are getting that right of entitlement, on which you are permitted to take a car. And sometimes the cost of right of entitlement is higher than the cost of the car which you are getting in. And secondly, you are traveling, whenever you are traveling on the road, you are being charged. You see the ERP, this is electronic road pricing. The moment you are on the road, this electronic system will detect you, and then they will start counting. Longer you stay, longer you pay, and longer in the peak period, you pay more, and that is what every time you are paying once you are coming on the road itself. And secondly, it says you can have a car for 10 years. And then after 10 years, you can get it renewed for 5 more years, for which you have to pay. And after 15 years, no car should be available, seen in, Singapore. This have to be moved down. And secondly, it is said, now the Singapore has said, we have already, dedicated more than 16% of the land for transportation and parking. We cannot afford more, So they have stopped issuing new kind of permit. Addition to this, only the car which are, have 15 years, those vacancy, they are being done. We now, after having the transportation, we go for transportation, we go for building. Let's context of building. Please understand, buildings are not merely made of walls, brick and mortar. Building have major implication in environment and consumption, because 1/6 of the total water which is withdrawn on this planet Earth goes into making a building. Similarly, 1/4 of wind harvested, and 30% of the total raw material which is extracted, this is all used in the making of building. Half of the global energy is used by building in heating, ventilation, air conditioning, etc. And 1/3 of the carbon emission can be attributed to the building itself. 40% of municipal waste comes from the building itself, and half of the chlorofluorocarbon, which is responsible for ozone depletion, is the outcome. The ways are building are heated and cooled. And 1/3 of the people you see in the hospital, for consultation, they are, for the reason they are suffering from sick building syndrome, because they are, living in poorly designed building. So with, cities consuming more than 70% of, energy, and also, major energy is consumed in travel and the buildings. So if you make the building sustainable and minimize the transportation, I think you have done the job. And I said India needs 700 to 900 million square meters of such, and it is said only 60% of the building has been built. 40% of the building is yet to be built, by 2050. So you can see, the buildings are going to be there. Building have its own implication, the kind of energy, kind of resources, kind of, environment and ecology implication, they can be marvelous. I think building needs to be looked differently and distinctly. If you look at the entire context of the building, there are 7 layers of the lifespan of building, right from siting. You find a site, design, construct, then occupy it, maintain, renovate, and deconstruct it. And during this entire, 7 layers, building goes on consuming energy, water, material, and natural resources. And they are also generating waste, polluting air, polluting water, and polluting your indoor air quality, creating heat island and flooding the city and creating noise. And ultimately, who's being impacted? Is a human health, an environment, and there's a loss of resources. So we define, these buildings have to be made as a, green building. And green building has 5 distinct, those those qualities. Number one, it consumes less water, it optimizes energy efficiency, it conserves natural resources, generate less waste, and provide healthier space for occupants. So it creates a win-win situation for the occupant, for the employer, and for the tenant. And this is all reduction in energy, carbon emission, water, and solid waste of the green building. And green buildings are designed by 5 Mahabhuta, Panch Tata, Prithvi, Jal, Agni, Vayu, and Akash. That's what we are trying to say this. So ultimately, these buildings have to be made more sustainable, and green building will remain the option. Now we come to the greening of the city, which we said, and India has 2.7 square meter of open space available, which may be less where somewhere and will be more. But as per UNO and WHO, minimum open space required will be at the rate of 9 square meter per person. So I think greening cities will remain important. Look at the trees. India has 28 trees per person, whereas Canada has 10,163 trees, per person of the population. You can see, it's more than, 350 times. And the world has 422 trees for every person. Where we stand, I think India has a problem of trees because we're cutting trees. We have all not respected the nature. I think this area needs to be looked at because trees remain relevant. And there's open spaces, which is less than 1 square meter in Mumbai and 2 square meter in Bangalore. And trees, these open spaces remain important because a tree generates 7 cylinders of oxygen, and it is also cools up to 5 tons. That is the cooling capacity. So it has, So therefore, I think trees and human beings remain very, very connected because they need carbon dioxide, we need oxygen, and they leave oxygen and we need carbon dioxide. So in case there is a mismatch between trees and this, I think we had a problem of fresh air during the fresh oxygen in the COVID time, So WHO also has said that physical inactivity has a major risk, and the people who are near the open spaces, they are 3 times more physically active this. So you can find, don't think these park and open spaces are useless spaces. No, they increase your physical activity. They make you mentally happy and healthy. They reduce healthcare and implication at the cost, you need less hospital, They improve environment, provide healthy habitat for human being and wildlife. And they bring, those birds back into the city. So these green spaces have been, have implication in terms of recreation, ecology, and aesthetic benefits, and make cities more sustainable. Look at this, Nikhil. Can you, I just need a glass of water, so that.
So let's take a break of 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, we will resume the session.
Surely, I'll come back soon. Okay?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
All participants are requested to be available in the session. We will meet just after 5 minutes. After that, we will have a discussion session during which you can ask your doubts or any queries to the expert.
We will be having the session by 9. After 9, you can ask the queries. There will be an interaction session.
Sorry, I'll do it. Ma'am, let me tell you, am I relevant or there is anything wrong? If you need anything change, Professor
No, sir. No,
Sangeeta,
sir. The session is very informative. Even the participants are texting in the text box that the session is very informative and they are it is very relevant.
my only
This is a
problem
very
is I'm.
different and new kind of discussion for all us computer engineers.
I only, my fear is I should not become irrelevant sometime, when we talk about it.
No, sir. No, sir.
Thank you. We go with this.
We
We
are
were talking about.
fortunate to have this talk now. This is
Thank
very
you.
fortunate for us.
I'm blessed to have the opportunity to talk to the students, and the teachers, of course. So ma'am, what I was trying to do at green spaces, this is how they have been valued. Look at this space. This is New York, the costliest space in the world you can think of. You can see all these World Trade Center and all these high-rise buildings. They are all there. But look at the wisdom. They created a park of more than 700 acres. This is known as the Central Park. If you ever go to New York, please look at this. And this is the park which have modulated the entire adverse impact of these high-rise buildings. Look at this, Hyde Park in London. And this is right in the core of the, city itself. This is in Perth, Australia. They're very, their center location, very, but they are very sure that we are providing green spaces. This is the recently, in that Ahmedabad, that Sabarmati river front that has been declared. Of course, unfortunately, they have matted everything, and the green is eaten away, which causes a lot of heat to be generated during the daytime because the temperatures are very, very high. But sure, this how they have made use of this. They wanted the green area to be developed, and this is what you need. The Pinjore Garden, Mughal Garden, Pinjore, and during earlier time also, people valued the green spaces. This is what Srinagar, this Mughal Garden, that's, part of the Srinagar where the people could look in this. And this is how Chandigarh, how Chandigarh made sure that the city remained connected because city was under the shadow of Shivalik range of hills. So what they made sure, there is a green belt which crosses vertically so that in any part of the city where you are, you come to the Central Park, you can see the Shivalik range of hills. So make sure, and then the Cho, which was there on the just left side of the sector 17, right in the way, which was a derelict area, which was 100 to 300 meter, undulating area. They never reclaimed and used for urbanization. And what they did, ultimately, they converted into a leisure valley, which has changed the total context of the city. You can see. And you look at this on the right side top, the Sukhna Cho is not a natural, lake. This lake has been created. You can see those two rivers, that's on the right hand side top, along this, there are two, blue lines. So this was the Sukhna Cho when Chandigarh land was selected. What was done, this area was dammed and the lake has been created. So this is how, that low-lying area, they made use of creating the lake, and the lake has modulated the total environment and ecology of this area. Look at, Singapore. Now, Singapore has, this is a landlocked area. This is an island. They have limited area. And they said they have done a lot of studies and analysis. And they found, all buildings, whenever you are allowing a building to be built in, what are you doing, You are eating away all the green spaces. So they said, no, this is not the thing. We cannot allow the green spaces to go away. So they made a law, whatever space you cover in the building at the ground level, that much green space you have to provide within the building. Suppose you have a plant, 1,000 square yard plot, you are given a 60% ground coverage. You have covered 600 square yard. That means 600 square yard of green space you have taken away. That 600 square yard you have to provide within the building so that you compensate. So there is no reduction of green spaces. Then of course, green roof and green walls remain other thing. And then we look at this, the context of water, and water remains another challenge. Please understand, we have only 4% of water. whereas we have 17.7% of the population, which I said. In addition, we have largest animal, numbers. We have around 59 crore animal which have to be fed. So water needs to be valued as part of the city. So then, when we're looking at the city, I think heritage remains one of the critical area which is unfortunately forgotten when do this. So we have Taj Mahal, they are only living example, Agra Fort, and they are in Lucknow. This is also in Lucknow. This is in Varanasi, and there are different, but each city has some kind of, heritage of its own, a culture of own. So those culture needs to be embedded as a part of the city growth and development, because it link your present with the past. It tells you how glorious you were. It tells you what was the construction technology, what was the material used. It also informs you that what are your roots and how you have come about. And this is all respecting that if you involve, the heritage as part of this building. So the city building. Then I come to, that the how we are, how technology, works in the green cities, or the cities becoming smart. So whenever you are, ultimately using and you are planning for a smart city, I think you have to use, there is no other option to use the technology. Earlier, it was all human perception, all human led. We were all doing by subjectivity. There was no objectivity. All decisions were being taken sitting on the four walls without understanding what is happening on the ground itself. So it is said, all sustainable and smart city will use technology. What for? Improving quality of life, promoting economic growth, and also planning and development. When you are using a technology, what are the process? You are doing a network of connected IoT devices and other technology. What are you doing? You are collecting information. That means you are putting sensors. You are having real growth time data. In fact, ultimately, if the cities are to be made smart, the entire city has to be networked with the, these Wi-Fi. So it is not to be, it is confined to a house. It is confined to a community. It is confined to the, your university. Ultimately, you will find all cities will have to be networked. They have all to be brought on IT devices or artificial intelligence using all these technologies. So that means you are using these technologies and using sensor to really collect the data about this city. You analyze the data. If you are looking at water supply, you are looking at the sewerage, you are looking at solid waste management, you are using the electricity, you have seen the smart meter, you are seeing, you don't have to go to that person, you can sit there and you have SCADA kind of thing where you are managing all water supply, sewerage, etc. So that means you are, number one, getting a real-time data. Number two, you're analyzing how the services are being delivered. If there is a leakage, it is not that you go and check it. It will be all come to you as a response of that. Like you have so solid waste management. You have earlier what you have a tractor going all time and collecting at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. Now you don't have to send it. There will be sensor in that dustbin, and that will communicate, this has been filled. Now you please come and collect, So you can, do that all. You will be able to analyze what is whether the water is reaching at that place, whether sewer is choked or electricity is disrupted. So you will understand the operation of city services. Then this data is made available to, decision maker, so that they take decision on the available information and the real-time ground situation, not by estimation or any time or manipulation. So therefore, this is how technology works. That is collection data, analyzing, communication, and taking action. But globally, if you look at the technology, the IoT, and this all this planning has used preparing the master. You see the, CAD you are using, that you are using, digital based or GIS based master plan. This is only for the reason that earlier, for making one plan of the city, you will take many years, and they were inaccurate, and most of the city master plan failed for the reason the existing land use prepared was totally wrong. It did not, because nobody could map the city. But now we have satellite, we have now Google images, we have GIS available with us, and we have CADs and every kind of instruments available. So you can use the technology for preparing the master plan and making a better master plan. You can manage it, transportation, you have a control room, where there are cameras. You see how the traffic is moving, where the blockage is there. You can immediately direct it, please take this route or stop going to this place, and you can immediately depute manpower, to sort out this. Then services, efficiency of services. That is how, this is being monitored in terms of delivery of services and all services, water supply, sewerage, sanitation. So if you are looking at, pollution, you can monitor what is the pollution level, so that you can, and which is the area which are polluted, and which are subjected to all kind of these problems, which you can look at this. So ultimately, this technology helps you in bringing everybody, entire organization on one platform. So there are no silos, you are able to access, and you are, you are be empowering people. You don't have to go for electricity bill or water bill, you can do it online. You don't have to go for banking. You can use technology, and you can pass on the money, or you can draw the money, going to ATM everywhere, So you are operating 24/7. Earlier, bank will open at 10 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 3 o'clock will close. You are left with no option, So you get, by this IT framework, you have real-time data. You can connect with people. You want to know the reaction of the people, just put on the website. You can send them the messages. You can understand what the objection they have about the master plan, or what amendments they need, whatever the changes needed. You can address grievances. You can, look at the what kind of, whether building is being constructed in unauthorized, or without sanction, getting sanction, or somebody is doing a wrong kind of construction. You can use technology for sustainability, service delivery. Then you can make, the service delivery most cost effective, and you can make sure the city operate much better. So technology have been used for smart parking. You will go sitting at your home, in America, whatever they do, they look at this, where is the cheapest parking available, because parking is very expensive, and they say, where is the slot available? So earlier morning, you can have all slots, so directly go there and you will find a space. So these are things, which you want to go to one place, you don't know where, you just feed in the app, you want to go from this place to this, the immediately app will tell you, this is the vehicle, this is the bus which will come, at what time it will come, you will have to change whatever this is all done. So ultimately, this, this use of technology, this improves the operation, maintenance, planning of all the delivery of services. They can minimize climate change, stop pollution of air. They can promote safety. They can even monitor the crime rate, and they see where the cities are flooded, where the disasters have taken place, where the landslides are, where are the hurricanes are there, And then you can monitoring the construction and development of this, and you can communicate with the areas of the problem, So after this, we come to the leadership. Leadership remains very, very, important, because we find the, the cities are run by proxy. In India, you don't know, there are 10 agencies. You have Huda, you have, town planning department, you have local authority, you have HSIDC, you have marketing board. There's so many agencies, there are housing board, everybody doing their job in the city. But who is looking after as a collectoral manner? I think that is the lack of leadership. Though if the cities are to be made smart and sustainable, there has to be a dedicated leadership, intelligent leadership, people who understand the entire growth and development mechanism, and then they operate. And this is, gentlemen, this is Jamie Lerner, He was the man who was the mayor of Curitiba. He was 3-time mayor, and, he was an architect. So when he took over, he wanted there was a lot of traffic problem. He asked the officer, he said, what to do? They said, please do the metro, He said, why you should do this? What time the metro will take? They said, sir, 10 years. He says, my tenure is 5 years. Why are you asking me to spend 10 years a job, So he said, I will take the bus. He is the father of the bus rapid transit system, which he did it. Number 2, he made pedestrianization. Thirdly, he is the author of this transit-oriented development, because he removed all this congestion. He promoted pedestrianization and public transport. And then he asked, there was a problem of solid waste management, He said, what's the problem? He said, the people said the collection is the problem. He said, why you go and collect, We will give food coupon to the people. So what people were, they were bringing their waste and they were dumping in the municipal corporation. They get in the food, those coupon, and the money which was spent in collection was being passed on these people. So this gentleman, with his leadership, made the Curitiba as one of the finest city in the world, So I think we are, having gone through this, let me explain to you the analogy of the future city. So please don't think future cities are going like horizontal city. They are going to vertical city. This is a city which was planned in 1991. This is a 500-story building, and this is a area of 156 square kilometer within this. And can you believe it? This can house a population of 10 lakh. That means the entire Delhi can be, done in these 19 or 20 buildings, So this is around, 10,560. All building plans are prepared, all structure drawing there, but it has not been, built. But this is one is, mile high tower in Jeddah, which is under construction, maybe near completion. It has 1 mile high tower. It have 275 stories, but it contains 80,000 people, In addition to going up, tomorrow when we are left with no space to going up, go down, we will have, earth scraper as another option. And this is a real example which Mexico is doing, because there was a heritage area. They have a large open space. They had the problem of more, housing and the commercial space. So what they did, never went vertical, they went down, So you go 300 meter down, there are 65 story, but there is a open space 240 meter and 200, you have air light ventilation coming from this, and this is known as the earth scraper. This is the next option, So I will conclude this, ultimately, that smart cities remain difficult and, very complex. It is difficult to change cities, because cities comprise of human beings, driven by human needs, driven by human greed, and human beings most difficult and, more difficult and complex to define, But nevertheless, based on study of 100 most successful cities, ultimately it came down that there should be 3 mantras, in order to make city smart and sustainable. First is achieve smart growth, That means you should have to find best of the option to do a thing. Don't have all the city covered with this. See experiment, take as a model, so that you provide best of the economic option to the people, so that they earn money and they enjoy good life, So that is your first is achieve smart growth. Second is do more with less. He says all the municipalities, all the urban local bodies, they are deficient in money. So they are always chasing money, So I think money needs to be looked at, money needs to be collected, and money needs to be spent and managed more effectively and efficiently. That means whatever limited resources you have, you should optimize it to achieve the best of the result. जैसे अपने घर को चलाते हैं आप उस तरीके से. दूसरा मंत्र है do more with less. Thirdly, win sport for change. That means you have to, as a leader, you have to deliver fast. You have to remain positive. You have to bring visible result, and you will have to have people, in municipalities and urban local bodies who are, professionally trained, and they have, input of architecture, engineering, technology, chartered accountants, etc. And they are accountable for whatever they do. So 3 mantras: achieve smart growth, do more with less, and win sport for change. They remains the best thing for you. And I'll conclude. I think if at all we want our cities to be sustainable and, livable, we have to build less, build on less, build in and out, build slender, build robust, build light, build leftover, build ordinary, build safe, not sterile, build local, build in terror, build hope and not ambition. But we should all be led by our need, not by greed, because nature has enough to take care of your needs, but nature has not enough to look for your greed. And then you plan for joy, and not ego. That means you are not promoting individual interests, you are promoting community interests. So with that, I would like to conclude, but I think I know I am not being able to doing it justice. With subjects is very vast, This subject has its own implication, because we, even after spending 53 years in this profession, we are still searching that how the city can be put in right order. But nevertheless, it's in, presentation which tries to make you aware about the context of the city, the role, the growth and development, the limitation cities have, the complex cities have, the implication for environment and ecology, the role of the cities to become sustainable. And I can tell you, this world can never be sustainable and livable if we are not able to design our building as green building, and we are not able to rationalize our transportation. Nevertheless, I said technology shall remain embedded, technology shall be the hallmark, and it will depend. I will request Sukhdeep Singh ji and Kavita to please look at the option where the technology, IoT, everything, because it's a very vast area. You have enough option, and this is an unlimited area, because cities are going to grow, cities operation are going to grow. Cities are going to be more complex and more difficult, and there are many things which will be, required. And surely you can use it experiment. I think you can use Sonipat as a testing ground. Ultimately, what city would require in networking, where the IoT can, all this can be accessed anywhere. Walking on the street, you don't have to go and sit in a corner. All cities, will have, information available on the desktop while you are walking, so that you can see what is happening in the city and you can evolve solution. Thank you. Thank you very much. And if there is a question, please let me know. I'm there. I close with this.
Thank you very much, sir. Now the session is open for the discussion.
Thank you, Gupta sir. It was really a nice start for this program. We could not have a better person than you for setting the tone of this course. I think all the participants have enjoyed your talk, and you have discussed the enough number of topics to stimulate the many areas in which all the participants, maybe from the different backgrounds, may explore or start working.
I remain grateful to you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. So otherwise, I belong to a different breed, I know, not from your department.
But
we were interested to call you in the physical mode, but you Sir, we were interested to call you in the physical mode, but as you accepted our invitation in the online mode only. So next time when we will be having an opportunity to invite you, we will invite you in the physical mode.
Thank you. I'm so grateful. And if there's a question, then it's,
Kavita, can
you know, I
I
have
start
my.
the discussion from myself?
Yes, sir,
Right,
sure.
Sir, I have one curiosity. You have used very good terms, although I was not able to recollect many of them. But I want to have more knowledge about the sick building syndrome. You have used this term. I have heard that people got sick. How a building got sick?
Look, you know, this that's what I mean. There are two terminology which are now being used. One is a sick building syndrome. That means building make you sick, building make you healthy. If a building is properly air, light, and ventilated with natural things, you know, fresh air, everything is there. That means you don't have, there is no problem of natural light, ventilation, cross ventilation is there. That means nature is embedded as a part of design. So that means building will make you happy and healthy. So if you don't, you yourself can find, you know, that if you are in a dark room, naturally, it has an implication. So secondly, number one, you should be close to the nature. That means you have a natural light, you should be able to see the outside. Thirdly, you should have a fresh air inlet, you know. I have not gone into the, you know, this green building, because green building itself is a very long chapter. And I, you know, explained to you 5 characters, that it reduces your water, it improves your energy efficiency. Thirdly, you know, it generates less waste, and it also consume less resources, but give you the best of the indoor air quality. Like in the room you are sitting, you know, look around your this room, you know, you have light. If you don't have light, you know, in it, there's a problem. But see, all your walls, what they are painted with, you know, those chemicals which have a chemical base, you know. All those paints have a chemical base. What is happening, you know, these chemicals are dissolving and you are inhaling that, you know. So when you are inside, you know, you know, what we look at, there is a one outside context, one is inside context. Outside building is a beautiful building, you know, but inside, if I would wish, you know, as a, you know, IT person, I would suggest, can you put the quality meters of air quality within your room, at least in the classroom? So you can manage immediately what is the level of carbon dioxide, because all the time we are using emitting carbon dioxide. Suppose there is no air, light, and ventilation. That means whatever fresh air is available when we come in the room, you know, we'll all take away. And ultimately, what will happen once it is gone? What we'll do, you know, we will all be emitting that carbon dioxide, inhaling that, you know. That's what happens in cinemas, you know. After 1 hour, you start feeling the headache, you know. So this building, you know, it is number one, I said air, light, and ventilation. Secondly, inside, you know, all those woodwork which you are used, if it is painted and polished, you know, if there is a dampness, there are basically microbes which will be there, you know. So ultimately, what is happening, whatever, even if you have a air, light, ventilation, you know, but if your, you know, this, you in the morning, you have, you know, in your room, if you have a drugget, what we say, put a carpet, you know. Carpet is the worst thing you can ever do, because carpets are never clean. So whatever dirt goes into, ultimately it goes into your body. You ask your person, you know, ये फिनाइल से धो दो, मेरा घर के कहते हैं ना, फिनाइल से ये साफ कर दो. आपने सोचा कीड़े मर गए, पर आपने और प्रॉब्लम कर ली, because phenyl has chemicals, you know. It gets, chemicals are right on your floor, you know, and they are dissolving. So ultimately, you know, indoor air quality की मैं बात नहीं कर रहा था. I was only trying, you know, how you design building with passive, you design with nature, have air, light, and ventilation. That is, you know, people who do not have proper air, light, and ventilation in that building. Most of the people in the, you know, Delhi, etc., you find how they divide the room and there is no access to this and they are in problem. So those people are suffering from the sick building syndrome. So that means building make you happy and healthy. And second, I will add, you know, there is another phenomenon, HAI, high. ये भी आप रिकॉर्ड करेंगे. This is known as HAI, that is hospital acquired infection. HAI, high. They called high. This is a study done. And the study has been done which demonstrated hospitals are killing more people than they're curing. I'm repeating, hospitals are curing more people than they're curing. Suppose you suffer from a problem, you go to a hospital, but hospitals have so much infection, you will be cured from that disease, but you will have, 6-7 more diseases coming in this. So they are the two phenomena. Ultimately, you find why people spend more time in getting recovery. It is simple reason because those hospitals have never taken care of to have the indoor air quality tested, and seen that hospital remains happy and healthy and there is no problem of those infection. And that is where the things are. So these are the two kind of typical study of sinking building syndrome. And once you have a happy, healthy building, you have, these, green hospitals, you will find the people will be staying much less time in the hospital to recover. The workload of the hospital will be less, and the people, going to the for checkup of the sick building syndrome, that will also be limited. In fact, there are studies globally that how much unfortunately, we don't think that green space has a valuation, but green buildings and green spaces have been valued, and it has been said they lead to enormous saving in healthcare costs, not only individually, because if you remain happy and healthy, if you are in a green building, they say you will sleep 32 minutes more, your cognitive score will be more than 102, you will not leave your organization, and you will add 8% to the profit because you will never be sick and you will never take a leave, So they are the study which have been quantifying the benefit of this green, but it's a subject which we can discuss and debate sometime.
Thank you,
Am I
sir.
clear? Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you. It is more than clear that we should try to live near the nature as far as possible.
Right, sir. And don't put carpets, and see all these people painting your walls. They should have a water-based paint, not the chemical-based paint.
Okay. Means we have taken a complete full circle. In early days, we used to have the smaller houses, but they were chemical free at least.
Yes, well, that's right. That's
If any of the participant is free to discuss anything with sir, this
So
type
there is
of
a
opportunities
question in
are not every day available.
there is a
anytime you
question in chat box, sir.
Okay. Let's see. But in the chat box, everyone is giving the message that the session is very good. Last message is from Nisha Saini.
I hope, sir,
You have written a question. Now Manmeet Kapoor has written that. Thanks a lot.
No, they can ask me anytime. I'll be available. I'll reply this. There is no problem. And
We will
I
share
hope,
your email ID with the participants, sir.
right, sir. No, I will share this presentation, you can make it available.
That will
It will be sent to you, right? This will be available, which can be shared with the students. There is no problem.
So you
Right, sir?
concluded your talk with a very good slide. The most promising was the build need, not the greed.
Right,
We
sir,
should
right.
go for our needs. There is no end to the greed.
That is the factor, sir, which promotes sustainability. Otherwise, if we are by greed, there can never be, sustainability in this. So that's what we hope and wish. We earlier lived sustainably. क्योंकि बड़े भाई की पैंट होती थी तो छोटा भाई पहनता था, एक ही कमीज से काम चलते थे. ठीक है जी. आज 3 महीने में हर महीने कमीज चेंज हो रही है. That we have so much surplus,
सर पैंट तो चलो फिर भी पहन के थोड़ा वियर एंड टियर हो जाता था. हम इवन जो अपने बड़े भाई बहन की छोड़ पड़ोसियों की किताबें भी जो होती थी ना, बुक सर, पुरानी किताबें,
right, sir,
उनसे पढ़ते थे और उनको भी इंजॉय करते थे नेक्स्ट क्लास में. लेकिन अब क्या है, अफोर्डेबिलिटी हो गई है या फिर पेरेंट्स को ऐसा लगता है कि किसी दूसरे की किताब से बच्चा क्यों पढ़े। इवन घर में भी बड़े भाई बहन की किताब छोटा भाई बहन नहीं पढ़ रहा है।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल सर, बिल्कुल। बेसिकली we have become more consumer oriented.
Yes, yes,
पहले
sir.
earlier our parents you and we will all think future, हमने सब कुछ संभाल के रखना है। अब तो ये है कि हर चीज को खर्च के रखना है, whatever it
खर्च के रखना, बिल्कुल
is.
बिल्कुल।
So consumerism has been built in this, right?
जिनके कमर्शियल इंटरेस्ट है, दे आर पुटिंग अस टुवर्ड दैट डायरेक्शन। लेकिन
बस वो
हम इंडिविजुअली भी कोई ज्यादा सा एफर्ट करते नहीं है कि पूरा सेट गए शॉप से खरीद लाए, चाहे उसमें से 50% किताबें घर में ही रखी हुई है।
सर अभी क्या हो रहा है, अभी प्लास्टिक मनी आ गई ना, पैसे
हाँ,
गिनने नहीं
बिल्कुल
पड़ते।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल,
अभी
ये
पैसे
भी
अगर
सर एक
500
बहुत बड़ा
रुपया
फैक्टर है।
देंगे, गिन के देंगे
हमें
तो आपको पता लगता है पैसा खर्च हो रहा है। प्लास्टिक मनी से आपने टाइप किया चला गया, so people don't have value for money, that is where things are going wrong, that's
but still, as far as possible, we should try to contribute whatever we can.
I think that is the duty and responsibility of we professional, that at least we promote the sustainability and make sure whatever we do as a professional, it makes things much easier, quicker, and much more focused. And basically aim is to promote public interest, not personal interest. But if we are only looking at our own interest, I think we can't do justice with the community. That is the main the harm. वो गीता से परे कुछ नहीं है जी। तो आप कर्म करिए, but आप फल की इच्छा मत करिए।
So there is one question from one participant. I can read it for you.
Right, sir.
Mr. Rakesh Kumar Mittal want to ask, if city administrator make arrangement for urban problem, but due to migrant population, all the efforts become useless. What can be the solution for that? As in the Delhi, every day approximately 1,000 new migrants are coming to stay in the Delhi.
सर मैंने कहा था कि poverty is not a urban problem or rural problem, it is a human problem. कुछ अमीर होंगे तो कुछ गरीब, जहां भी आदमी है कुछ अमीर होंगे कुछ गरीब होंगे। अर्बन प्रॉब्लम की जड़ क्या है, वो रूरल एरिया में है। So the urban problem have a genesis in the neglect of the rural area. रूरल एरिया में अभी भी 69% लोग रहते हैं, उनके बारे में हम सोचते नहीं। अभी अगर कभी रूरल प्रेजेंटेशन करूंगा तो इंडिया में 56% इन द रूरल एरिया पीपल डोंट ओन लैंड, सिर्फ 44% के पास लैंड है, और जिनके पास लैंड है 80% जो लैंड होल्डिंग है 1 हेक्टेयर से कम है सिर्फ, और 10 या 15% के पास 1 हेक्टेयर से, मतलब लैंड होल्डिंग इतनी कम है। क्योंकि मैंने कहा 2.4% जमीन है और 17% पॉपुलेशन है। तो वो जो लैंड का कॉन्टेक्स्ट है, एक तो जो 56% लोग गांव में बैठे हैं उन्होंने वर्क करना ही है, वो मजदूरी करेंगे। तो जब आपने देखा एग्रीकल्चर इज ओनली सीजनल, एंड यू नीड पीपल फॉर हार्डली 4 to 5 months in a year. So for rest of the 7 months they are underemployed or they are unemployed, So ultimately what happens, they have no other option. और फिर हम क्या कर रहे हैं, सिटी को अलग प्लान कर रहे हैं, रूरल। मैंने इसीलिए कहा रीजनल प्लानिंग अगर कर देंगे, सिटी और रूरल एरिया को अगर यानी कि करें तो प्लान करें, तो मेरे ख्याल रूरल एरिया में जो पहले अर्बन सर्विसेज है वो रूरल में, कभी मैं आपसे वो डिस्कस करूंगा रूरल डेवलपमेंट के बारे में। प्रॉब्लम पता क्या है इंडिया में, इफ रूरल एरिया हैव टू माइग्रेशन 1/5 मैंने कहा, और जो माइग्रेशन स्टडी है गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने की है 2016 में, उसमें क्लियरली आया है 42% ऑफ द टोटल पॉपुलेशन लिविंग इन बॉम्बे एंड दिल्ली दे आर ऑल माइग्रेंट्स। और माइग्रेशन कहाँ से हुई है, दीज आर बैकवर्ड स्टेट्स, लाइक यूपी हो गया, उड़ीसा हो गया, मध्य प्रदेश हो गया, वहां से पॉवर्टी निकल के आई है। तो अल्टीमेटली अभी मैंने वो आपको डायग्राम भी बार दिया था, अभी भी 1/5 ऑफ द टोटल ग्रोथ जो अर्बन ग्रोथ है दैट इज कंट्रीब्यूटेड बाय द माइग्रेंट्स, तो माइग्रेशन कम करने का तरीका यही है कि यू शुड जनरेट एम्प्लॉयमेंट इन द रूरल एरियाज, और रूरल एरिया में जो है वो अल्टीमेटली इट्स स्किलिंग एंड एम्पावरिंग द रूरल एरिया। जैसे वो रू अर्बन मिशन की बात करें, अभी और कुछ चल रहा है, बट व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से, जैसे हम कोई मास्टर प्लान बनाते हैं, एक शहर के साथ 50 और गांव लिख रहे, हम शहर की प्लानिंग करते हैं, गांव की कोई प्लानिंग नहीं करते, क्योंकि जब वो मास्टर प्लान का हिस्सा ही है तो दे शुड आल्सो बी लुक्ड एंड दे शुड आल्सो बी एम्पावर्ड, अल्टीमेटली जो हमारी पोजीशन इंडिया की आ गई, क्योंकि हमारे पास लैंड नहीं है, आदमी बहुत ज्यादा है, तो अगर ये विलेजर जो हैं अगर कोऑपरेटिव बेसिस पर करें, आप देखिए एक विलेज के पास वो 400-500 एकड़ जमीन है, आपने देखा हरियाणा में कितने ट्रैक्टर होते हैं, कितने ट्रैक्टर आप बताइए। जिस आदमी के पास 2 एकड़ जमीन है वो भी ट्रैक्टर रख के बैठा है, कोई ट्रैक्टर से कभी काम
और
चलता है?
प्रैक्टिकली वो सर इकोनॉमिकली वायबल नहीं है वो।
पर वो क्या करे, उसके बच्चों की शादी नहीं होती, अगर उसका ट्रैक्टर नहीं है तो उसको कोई पूछता नहीं है, तो ही हैज नो स्टेटस, यू नो, तो अल्टीमेटली उसको रखना पड़ता है, वो
रखना
कर्जा
पड़ता
लेता है,
सर।
कर्जा लेके
चाहे
बाद में
वो पूरा
suicide
साल खाली खड़ा रहे।
तो यही मतलब अगर सारे गांव की जो जमीन है अगर कोऑपरेटिव बेसिस पर हो, जितनी लैंड होल्डिंग हो, तो 10-12 ट्रैक्टर से सारा काम चल जाएगा। जो प्रोड्यूस होती है उसको मार्केटिंग का, कुछ लोग मार्केटिंग में लग जाएं, कुछ डेयरी फार्मिंग में लग जाएं, कुछ इस तरह से करके हर आदमी को रोजगार मिले। आप इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन कर सकते हैं, एग्रो बेस्ड इंडस्ट्री है तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं। जब आप कोऑपरेटिव बेसिस पर काम कर रहे हैं तो नेचुरली यू हैव मोर पावर एंड मोर स्ट्रेंथ, यू नो। अगर पर हमारे में कल्चर क्या है, तो हम क्या कहते हैं कि एक आदमी को मारता है दूसरे में, जो गुजरातियों में नहीं है। यू नो अमूल, यू सी, यू नो अमूल हैज बिकम वन ऑफ द लार्जेस्ट कोऑपरेटिव। 30-40 हजार करोड़ की टर्नओवर है, आप बताइए। और कहाँ से शुरू हुआ था? 5 फार्मर ने किया था, क्योंकि दोस्त पीपल आर वेरी फोकस एंड दोनों अगर इकट्ठे रहेंगे तो चलेंगे। हमारे में क्या है, एक दूसरे को मारने में लगे हम एक दूसरे। और हमारे गांव में प्रॉब्लम क्या है, सबसे डिवाइडेड सोसाइटी गांव की है। ये बानिया हैं, ये जाट हैं, ये सैनी हैं, ये कुछ हैं। आप देखिए गांव में 5-5 गुरुद्वारे बैठे हैं, यू नो, उनकी क्रिमेशन ग्राउंड अलग अलग है। इतनी डिवाइडिंग, आप इतनी डिवाइडेड सोसाइटी
अलग अलग है सर, गलियां
तो
अलग अलग।
ultimately, you know, this is most unfortunately, in fact, rural people are killing themselves. So ultimately, we have to have a different kind of a खैर वो तो मतलब दे
और सर जो जैसे माइग्रेशन की हमने बात की कि फ्रॉम द लेसर प्रॉस्पर स्टेट्स माइग्रेशन दिल्ली बॉम्बे में हो रहा है इन आवर कंट्री, and from Haryana, Punjab and this NCR region, the migration is to the developed countries. Migration तो यहाँ पे भी बहुत बड़े स्केल पे है।
क्योंकि हमारी साइकी क्या है कि हम बाहर जाके झाड़ू भी लगा लेंगे और सोचते हैं बाहर पैसे लगे और यहाँ काम नहीं करेंगे। हमारी प्रॉब्लम क्या है, डिग्निटी ऑफ लेबर नहीं। यू नो, वहां पर बाहर जाके जो मर्जी आप इनसे काम करवा लो, करेंगे, लेकिन यहाँ नहीं करेंगे। अगर वो डिग्निटी ऑफ लेबर यहीं भी है ना, यू विल फाइंड, यू नो, थिंग्स विल इम्प्रूव, क्योंकि वी आर द बेस्ट पीपल, यू नो। आप देखिए नासा में 35% इंडियन काम करते हैं अमेरिका में, और 25% अमेरिकन है। आप 35% इंडियन, नासा रन बाय द इंडियंस, यू नो। आप देखिए जितने भी दुनिया की बड़ी बड़ी गूगल वगैरह जितने भी हैं, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट, दे आर ऑल हेडेड बाय इंडियंस। उधर इतना बढ़िया काम करते हैं, तो यहाँ क्या हो गया जाके? आई थिंक दोस थिंग्स, कल्चर we need to look at, you know, but nevertheless I think वो उन्होंने जो कहा है कि माइग्रेशन है, तो उसका एक ही हल है कि हमें विलेजेस को एम्पावर करना है। विलेज और रूरल अर्बन एरिया को दोनों को ही एक प्लेटफॉर्म लाके प्लान करना है, बिकॉज मेजॉरिटी ऑफ अर्बन एल्स हैव जेनेसिस इन द निग्लेक्ट ऑफ द रूरल एरिया। मैं रिपीट कर रहा हूँ, मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द अर्बन एल्स हैव genesis and the neglect of rural area। अगर रूरल एरिया को हमने नहीं संभाला तो हमारे शहर जो है बर्बाद हो जाएंगे। सो कोई स्मार्ट सिटी नहीं बनने वाला, मैं आपको बता दूं। स्मार्ट सिटी हो ही नहीं सकता, क्योंकि 5 चीजें बहुत जरूरी हैं: रोटी, कपड़ा, मकान, रहने के लिए जगह, और एजुकेशन एंड हेल्थ केयर एंड एम्प्लॉयमेंट। ये अगर कोई शहर नहीं प्रोवाइड करे तो स्मार्टनेस का क्या मतलब है? मतलब सिटी शुड बी एबल टू प्रोवाइड योर बेसिक। मेरे ख्याल में ये 7 चीजें जो हैं, दे शुड बी योर फंडामेंटल राइट्स, रादर देन कि ये राइट टू स्पीक एंड राइट टू ओन प्रॉपर्टी को छोड़िए जाके। आई थिंक रोटी, कपड़ा, मकान, एम्प्लॉयमेंट, हेल्थ केयर, एजुकेशन, they are the 6 factors which are embedded for this. I think we will be a great nation. I think that is what we need. And वही सिटी स्मार्ट होगा जो ये सिटी 6 चीजें हर आदमी को प्रोवाइड कर सकेगा। That is what.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I would like to request, sir, thank you very much for, first of all, for making me listen again the like beautiful presentation and the talks, your thoughts about this smart city and IoTs. I still remember our first meeting in 2013, where at Gyani Jail Singh College, where you were talking about the future of the cities. So the future of the cities in 2013 was almost same, where government of India is launching these smart cities. But like one question was already there in the chat box, that do we really feel that with the existing condition of the cities in our India and the amount of money that we are having, are we really going to achieve the smart city concept in India? Though, like, I'm very hopeful that all these computer people are making us feel like that we have been planning for so many years now, but the amount of data that they are helping us to achieve our targets and making people show such kind of things, that this is happening, like the air quality that you are talked about, that we are well aware of that the opening should be there, the ventilation should be there, the lighting should be there, but installation of all these IoTs, the instruments that they are putting forward to us, or let's say data collectors, so all those things that they are providing us, they're making us like more strengthening our thoughts. So are we really able to see such kind of smart cities in India, like where we are having potholes and roads and like no sewage facilities available?
देखो, मैंने आपको पहली लफ्ज में कहा कि दुनिया में कोई सिटी स्मार्ट नहीं है, एंड सिटी कैन नॉट बी स्मार्ट, यू नो. हाँ, हर सिटी अच्छा कर रहे हैं, कोई ट्रांसपोर्ट में कर रहा है, कोई सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट में कर रहा है, कुछ एनवायरमेंट क्वालिटी में कर रहा है. तो मैंने भी सारी, I have gone through and searched through all these cities. There is no city which is called a smart city, and no city has even the potential to become a smart city. They are looking at energy, they are looking at environment, they are looking at transport individually, you know. और कभी आप सोचेंगे न्यूयॉर्क में अभी भी तकरीबन वो कहता है 1 लाख लोग जो हैं वो फुटपाथ पर सोते हैं. आप इमेजिन करिए, या कार में सोते हैं, यू नो. If these word, अभी मैंने अभी प्रेजेंटेशन नहीं किया, only 13% in the countries in the world, you know, 195 में सिर्फ 13% कंट्री हैं जो के लोगों को मकान देने में सक्षम है. कहने का मतलब 182 countries in the world, you know, 180 के करीब जो है, they are not able to cater to the basic human needs, you know. So ये बहुत ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम है. ये जो स्मार्ट सिटी कैन बी ए पॉलिटिकल एजेंडा, बट आई थिंक मैंने अभी आपको कहा कि वी नीड टू लुक सिटी डिफरेंटली एंड डिस्टिंक्टली. और ये 6 चीजें अगर आप देख देंगे तो सिटी जो है ठीक है. अगर खाने को रोटी नहीं है तो स्मार्ट सिटी क्या करेगा? ठीक है, आपके पास एम्प्लॉयमेंट नहीं है तो कहाँ जाएंगे, मकान नहीं है तो सड़क पर जाएंगे, तो कैसे स्मार्ट सिटी होगा? तो स्मार्ट सिटी डजंट मीन कि 4 आदमी अमीर आदमी है, वो ये अंबानी ने एंटीलिया बना लिया तो सिटी स्मार्ट हो गया. नो, इट इज लुकिंग एट द पुअरेस्ट ऑफ द पुअर, यू नो. कम से कम उसके रहने के लिए कुछ बेसिक चीजें तो उपलब्ध हैं कि नहीं है. आई थिंक दैट शुड बी द पैरामीटर.
थोड़ा अगर मनोज अलाउ करे तो मैं 1 ही मिनट लूंगा. अगर हम 100% स्मार्ट नहीं तो स्टेप्स में थोड़ा थोड़ा स्मार्टनेस अगर हम इनकॉर्पोरेट कर लें, that will also do a lot for us.
I agree with you. नहीं, I agree with you. मैंने ये नहीं कहा स्मार्ट सिटी बंद कर दी है. You know, our effort, our, you know, all this intelligence and
मैं आपकी बात को ही सपोर्ट कर रहा हूँ, मैं आपकी बात को ही सपोर्ट कर रहा हूँ मैं. Like it will be in the phased manner. Like on the highways, we are seeing on the developed countries, they have a very good use of technology enabled services.
yes, right.
Like for the traffic management, for the toll tax collection.
बिल्कुल
देखा देखी कुछ हमारे यहाँ भी आ रहा है. अब देखो दिल्ली में एंटर करते ही फटाफट स्पीड कम कर लेते हैं क्योंकि वहां पे कैमरा इंस्टॉल्ड हो गया है सब जगह. लोकल सिटीज में भी अगर ऑटोमेटिक जनरेटेड चलान अगर आएंगे तो लोग अपने आप ही एटलीस्ट वो ओवर स्पीडिंग कम होगी. इसी तरह थोड़ा थोड़ा वेदर प्रेडिक्शन के अकॉर्डिंग हम अपना रूट प्लान कर लें, ट्रैफिक के अकॉर्डिंग हम डाइवर्जन कर दें ट्रैफिक का, तो हम स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं वहां से.
नहीं, आप जैसे मैं आपको रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ, आप IoT है, आपके साथ आर्किटेक्चर है, आप पहले कैंपस को स्मार्ट कर दीजिए. यू नो, स्टार्ट विद कैंपस. मैं आपको मतलब लेट इट बी के रोल मॉडल. आप कितनी टेक्नोलॉजी है, आप मॉनिटर करें कितने व्हीकल आ रहे हैं, किस वक्त आ रहे हैं. पार्किंग आप इतना ही कह दीजिए, जब जो व्हीकल आएगा बाहर पार्क करेगा और उसके बाद जो चलेंगे पैदल चलेंगे. आप मतलब कुछ करिए. आई थिंक दैट विल बी ग्रेट. दैट इज ग्रेट आइडिया, यू नो. क्योंकि आप सारे शहर को तो नहीं ठीक कर, सारी दुनिया को नहीं ठीक कर सकते, लेकिन घर में अपना जो है अपनी एग्जाम्पल करिए. एंड आई थिंक यू बिकम ए रोल मॉडल ऑफ this this smartness within your campus. You can think of zero.
We will try.
मैं देखिए मैं आपको रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ आप जीरो एनर्जी बनिए ताकि आप फोटोवोल्टिक सेल लगाइए आप उसको बिल्कुल जीरो वाटर वेस्ट करिए जाके which you can do you know I think it will be helpful to you and you do this वो आप मतलब आपका वॉकिंग आप कारें बंद कर दो उनको कहिए कार बाहर खड़े करो अंदर चलो पैदल आप फिर कॉरिडोर जो भी करना आप करिए बिल्डिंग को हर बिल्डिंग को इवैल्यूएट करिए कि इस बिल्डिंग में कितनी है देखिए अगर कभी आप यूनिवर्सिटी का बिल देखें पानी और बिजली का देखें आपको पता लग जाएगा कितनी कॉस्ट हो रही है अगर उसमें सेव करेंगे तो वो आप अपनी एजुकेशन को क्वालिटेटिव बना सकते हैं ठीक है ना सो दैट इज आई थिंक कैन बी ए गुड थिंग सो आई थिंक जीरो एनर्जी और जीरो का रख के कैंपस रख के तो यू कैन श्योरली कंट्रीब्यूट यू नो दैट्स व्हाट
Zero तो नहीं सर, but the 50% more than 50% campus buildings are covered with the solar cells, solar panels, and in last 1.5 year we have saved a lot. At least for the boys hostels, I can say that the this electricity bill has reduced to almost zero. We are generating so much power from the solar panels.
Right. अल्टीमेटली तो है कि आपने एनर्जी एफिशिएंट नहीं रहना जीरो एनर्जी के बाद एनर्जी पॉजिटिव रहना है मतलब बिल्डिंग विल जनरेट मोर एनर्जी देन व्हाट दे कंज्यूम दैट्स अल्टीमेटली
It is doing the same thing. It is grid connected.
सर आप में जो सबसे बढ़िया चीज है कि यूर क्लासेस आर फ्रॉम 9 to 5 if you are 4 or 5 सैटरडे संडे बंद रहता है इलेक्ट्रिसिटी तो जनरेट हो रही है ना तो दैट मींस यू शुड बी अल्टीमेटली यू विल फाइंड यू विल बी जीरो एनर्जी यू नो सो वो अपना सीवरेज ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट अपना सब तक भी फाइटो रेमिडिएशन है देयर यू डोंट हैव टू पुट एस एसटीपी वो पानी जो है वो ठीक हो सकता है देन यू नो दैट वाटर कैन बी रिसाइकल्ड एंड यूज दिस यू नो सो देयर आर न्यूमरस ऑप्शन आपके पास मनोज जी बैठे हैं इनके पास बहुत ज्यादा नॉलेज है आई थिंक वर्किंग ओनली प्रॉब्लम इज वी डोंट वर्क कलेक्टिवली अगर आप आर्किटेक्चर आप इकट्ठे बैठ जाएं तो बहुत ज्यादा यानी कि थिंग्स कैन इम्प्रूव to a large extent I can tell you and that's where we need to be
सर I would like to appreciate सुखदीप सर के उन्होंने इनिशिएटिव्स इतने सारे लिए हुए हैं पहले जैसे सर ने बताया कि हॉस्टल्स उन्होंने पहले करवाए हैं तो पहले सुखदीप सर जो थे चीफ वार्डन थे अभी सुखदीप सर डीन स्टूडेंट वेलफेयर भी हैं अपार्ट फ्रॉम बीइंग चेयरमैन डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ कंप्यूटर साइंस तो वो यहाँ भी स्टूडेंट्स के लिए काफी सारे इनिशिएटिव लेते ही रहते हैं जैसे ई रिक्शा का प्रोविजन उन्होंने करवाया हुआ है अभी स्टूडेंट्स के लिए तो और व्हीकल्स वाला जो सर स्टूडेंट्स वाला है वो कंपोनेंट इन्होंने पहले से ही बैन करवाया हुआ है और सिर्फ फैकल्टी या स्टाफ ही अलाउड कर रखा है इन्होंने
नहीं
तो मैं तो सुखदीप सर के इनिशिएटिव्स पे काफी ओके हूं
नहीं रीजन है आप सारी दुनिया को चेंज नहीं कर सकते पर आपकी एफर्ट रुकनी नहीं चाहिए अल्टीमेटली यू नो दैट इज व्हाट और मैं जब सबसे बड़ी हैरानगी थी मैं खुद भी देख रहा था कि जब ये प्रोग्राम ही आप मतलब आर्किटेक्चर डिपार्टमेंट नहीं कर रहा और उसके बावजूद मुझे कहा गया आप बोलिए दैट इज आई थिंक इट्स अ ग्रेट ये इससे बड़ी सोच नहीं हो सकती बिकॉज आई कुड हैव गॉन इररिलेवेंट आई वाज नॉट यू नो मैं उससे कनेक्टेड बिल्कुल आपकी टेक्नोलॉजी से नहीं है बट फिर भी जो है इट इज एन अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर मी टू लर्न आल्सो बट आई थिंक दैट्स अ ग्रेट आइडिया वी विल लुक फॉर मोर अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर एम्बेडिंग यू नो टेक्नोलॉजी एज इंटीग्रल पार्ट ऑफ द सिटी प्लानिंग क्योंकि अभी तो सॉफ्टवेयर आपके हैं बिल्डिंग का डिजाइन आया उस सॉफ्टवेयर फीड करिए वो आपके एनर्जी कंजम्पशन इमीडिएटली बता देगा ठीक है ना जी आप किसी भी डिजाइन को एक्सेप्ट करते हैं वो आपके पास सॉफ्टवेयर होगा तो आप उसमें फीड करिए जो आपका डिजाइन है तो अगर आपको वो एनर्जी लेवल पर एक्सीड कर रहा है तो आप उसको कहिए डिजाइन मॉडिफाई करिए इमीडिएटली यू नो एट द राइट एट द इनिशियल स्टेज यू कैन टेक केयर ऑफ दिस ठीक है बट दे आर वन यू नो सबसे जरूरी है सोचना और जो सोच जो है हम सोचते कम है हम लड़ते ज्यादा है अपने आप में बैठे रहते हैं एंड वंस वी डू कम ऑन द सेम प्लेटफॉर्म आई थिंक इट कैन बी ग्रेट जॉब ठीक है एक मेरी किताब है मैं आपसे शेयर करूंगा ये किताब है ये मैं आपको आई विल मेक श्योर कि आपको तीनों को किताब मिल जाए दिस इज अ बुक मेकिंग सिटी ग्रेट प्लेसेस टू लिव यू नो तो मैं आई विल बी इन टच विद मनोज एंड मेक श्योर यू नो this talks about this city you know making cities a great place to live and this will be published this I'll make some
Sir, thank you so much.
Talk and discussion. I think all the participants have enjoyed the session. Now over to Kavita for the final remarks.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening all of us on the importance of human settlements from the perspective of planners. We as computer engineers keep on providing technical solutions to various social issues, including settlements. We feel blessed to have you as our keynote speaker, who set the tone of the FDP at a very high level with the introduction of population, cities, state of settlements, and integration of role of engineers in planning sustainable and smart cities. Thank you so much, sir. We are very thankful, and this talk was very wonderful. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'm blessed and I'm so grateful for the opportunity. We can close
Thank you, sir.
now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear participants. We are signing off for today. See you tomorrow at 7 p.m. for our next session by Professor Ajay Pratap from IIT BHU on folk computing enabled heterogeneous 5G networks for smart city applications.